Hello friends, and welcome to my tutorial commentary on the sub 3 hour speedrun we got last week on stream. I stream 3 days a week here on YouTube. My schedule is always in the description for every description if you want to tune in. Okay, so let's talk about the speedrun. I'm going to try to... The goal with this video is to either encourage you to give it a try. You know, if you were interested in speedrunning, you've never speedrun a game. This is the first game I've ever speedrun like this with, you know, with live split and all that. And I think it's just a lot of fun. Even if you don't want to get like very competitive, like I'm not super competitive with it. I just wanted like a decent time. So with sub 3, I'm very happy. I think that if you watch this, you might realize that it's pretty accessible and you can give it a try if you want. Or maybe you're just interested in learning about, you know, the route to make watching more enjoyable. Okay, so what category is this? It's called New Game, Any percent Glitchless. And I'm doing it on normal difficulty. Now, I got into running this category because, first of all, I like New Game. I think New Game's fun. You could do it on New Game Plus as well. If you do New Game Plus, you basically would just start with, you know, all of your damage upgrades, all of your skills, all that stuff. But that would require some setup. So this is the speedrun category you could just jump into right away, regardless of what you completed in your initial playthrough. And I think that's a lot of fun just because you get to decide, you know, what upgrades to get, when to get them. And those kinds of decisions I think are really cool. So, why did I get into running this myself? I wanted to practice New Game. I wanted to speedrun New Game Hard Any percent Glitchless, but New Game Hard is like really difficult. After we completed our first playthrough on stream, this was a long time ago now, like 2 months ago, I was like, damn, this would be sick to speedrun because, like, you know, the challenge is there. And so I couldn't really just start like that, though. I had to learn New Game Normal first. So that's what I was going for. I wanted to practice New Game Normal and then get into New Game Hard. These enemies here, I like to kill them with square, square, triangle. So just the first 3 hits of Incursion 2. And I think that you could also do triangle, square, square. Either way, they'll die in 3 hits. But yeah, don't worry about those guys too much. Just kill them in 3 hits and then move on. Now we want to start taking damage from the beholders. Now these beholders, they have like 3 attacks. If they do a backstep, they're going to do a 2-hitter. Otherwise, they're going to do a 1-hitter. Like there, he's going to go into 2 attacks. And here, I'm just eating all of it because we want to take extra damage. Typically, I would kill that guy with 1 onslaught 4, which is triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle. But it didn't work out that way because the one Taki's beholder did some damage to me and interrupted all that. Here, I do incursion 4. It leaves him with a speck of health. And then after I take 1 damage from him, I just take the rest of the damage on the fire, and I get to 2 bars. So we have 2 little slivers of health there on the bottom left in the health bar. And that guarantees that we will die to any 1 hit from Brute at the end of this tutorial section. After 4 dashes, you unlock Rush. And what is Rush? Rush is just, if you hold down triangle, you do like a fast dash forward. And it's also a heavy attack. And so then here, I have enough beta energy built up. I do 2 attacks, 2 light attacks, square, square, and then use a triangle beta skill to kill both the beholder and that guy, I forget what he's called. I think he's called like a thorn something. Anyway, now we're sprinting. We just unlocked sprint. So up to this point, you can't sprint. But now we're going to be doing the main movement tech, which is running and then doing a rush. So we hold down triangle and then pressing circle to do a dodge out of rush. So we're doing a dodge to cancel out of the recovery frames of rush, just to speed it up. And this is the main movement tech. We're going to be doing up throughout the entire room. We're going to do this, and you can see it's on cooldown in the bottom right. So right under my controller graphic, you can see when rush becomes available again. Now I have my HUD set to adaptive, so it'll kind of just disappear after so many seconds. I like having the adaptive HUD just because I feel like it's better for viewer experience. So I typically leave it like that. But if you were just starting out, and honestly I should too, just play with it on. That way you can always see when your rush is available again. But yeah, there we died to the Brute right away. We just took 1 hit and moved on. Obviously, it's an optional boss, so dying to it is much faster than killing it. So that's why we set up with the damage on the fire earlier. Okay, next, we're moving on to Eidos 7. Now, with this speedrun... Hold on, let me actually set up one thing here real quick. Okay. It's kind of weird because I'm doing a recording over the recording, so I'm watching it here, but I have a no commentary version. By the way, I will have a no commentary version of this speedrun in the description. Actually, no, I'll put it as the pinned comment. And I'll also have no ads on it. So if you like falling asleep to just gameplay, I'll have no commentary on there. You can just watch the run if you prefer to watch it with no commentary. If you'd like to just, you know, leave it as background noise. So that'll be in there with no ads. Right. Now here we are at 807. So for this run, most of the RNG, aka random number generation, all of the randomness is really front-loaded. Once you're out of 807, there's basically no more randomness. Like, very little things, because every enemy encounter is a tiny bit random. But what I mean by random is, like, you'll see what I mean. There is a particular ambush section coming up in a few minutes, in about 3 minutes, that is very random because it involves barrels, and once we get there, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, for these spiders, I like just killing them with onslaughts and stuff. I don't like burning the beta skill. Like, you could use the triangle beta skill if you want to kill them faster, but the reason I don't do that is because I want to save it for the ambush section I just mentioned. By the way, these numbers, the Greek characters, they're all randomized. Now, you pick up the key code, the key codes are always the same, and I like to have them written down on a notepad, just so I can, you know, as I'm playing, like during any kind of cutscene or whatever, I can just see what's coming up so I can remember it. But if you forget, you don't have to write them down. I just like doing that. You can just press triangle to get a hint, and it'll show it to you. Here, I just do square, triangle, square, triangle, square, and it'll kill them pretty efficiently. These creepers. Once we get some damage upgrades, we can just kill them with 3 light attacks, and I'll be using square, square, square to kill them as soon as we get any damage upgrade. Now, this is a forest camp, so we do have to rest at this, but you can skip most of it. So in the top right, you'll see if you have skip UI on, as soon as a cutscene becomes skippable, you'll see that you can hold down circle to skip. But that doesn't mean you can skip the entire cutscene, so we have to watch like the middle portion of it here. And then besides that, we also press X to speed up some dialogue during some cutscenes, but not all of them. And I'll point out all the ones where you can hold down X, or mash X. So we also have to buy one upgrade here. It's forced. You have to get perfect dodge here. And it's nice that it forces you, because this game it wouldn't be anywhere near as fun if you didn't have perfect dodge. There's my cat, by the way. So here, I like to press down on the D-pad. If you use the analog stick, it might send you off somewhere else. So after R2, just press down on the D-pad, and it's really clean. Another thing I didn't point out is that if you are below 65% percentage towards the next SP, aka the next experience point, you're not going to have enough by the time we get to the next camp before Abaddon to upgrade what you want to upgrade, or what I want to upgrade. I want to get Blink, and I want to get Ambush. And so that's why I killed that Cricket Slasher, the one before the bridge, because we need 2 SP. And the game gifts you 1 SP, but the other one you have to get yourself. So here I'm going in this direction. Number 1 for experience. So this will add up to the perfect amount of experience. Plus there is a chest here with an Omnibolt in it. Now, all we want is the chest. If you get here quick enough, this guy won't notice you, and then you can just grab what's inside, which is the Omnibolt plus a combo and attack enhancement gear. Now, since we got it, I'm going to use the combo attack enhancement gear, but it doesn't do that much of a difference. It's nice bonus. It's a really nice bonus, but not critical, because we're not going to use it after we get out of 807. I pretty much just only use it in 807. So that is something that you could skip if you didn't care about the same upgrades I care about. But I'll get more into that once we get to those upgrades. So here we get our first fusion cell, and also our first dialogue that you can mash through. So I'm just going to be tapping X. You don't really have to tap it that fast. You can just, just tap it. And you can skip some of the dialogue lines here. In general, you can never skip the first, or you can never skip the last dialogue line, usually. So there we could only skip the middle ones, not the first or third or last one. So this ambush, I like to swipe the barrel on the right, and then jump behind the other 2, and then get these 2. Now, if you're lucky, they won't go flying. And then walking in this direction encourages the spiders to walk towards you. Actually, I don't think I got a good spider section here. This ambush, yeah, this could have gone way, way better, because usually this big spider, the mutated creeper, he would take some damage from the barrels, but that didn't happen. So it was pretty slow section. What's more important, though, is getting this guy fast. So if you hit these barrels and then just wait around here and then go walking away, usually he will die just to the barrels. He didn't die that time for me. Honestly, this is a good part to practice. I would go through, kill this guy, kill these enemies, and then press start and go to reload last save, and it'll put you right before the ambush. Because that part is very random. It's probably like the most RNG section of the game, and you can waste a lot of time. Like as you can see, my best split for this section is 8:14 compared to my PB split was 8:28, which is about what we get. And then for there, you just want to line up. Make sure you're sprinting. Once you're on that plank, you can go into a sprint and then jump, and you'll make it if you do an air dash. By the way, I just picked up a Bitcoin. That camp has a Bitcoin. Every camp has a Bitcoin next to it so that you can always activate your camps. But we're just going to grab the Bitcoin for safety in case we don't find any Bitcoins as drops. We need 2 Bitcoins before we get to Xion. to buy a special gear that we're going to be using throughout the entire run. Luckily, that dude did not fly away. Sometimes he goes invisible and flies away, and then it just sucks. It wastes a lot of time. Okay, and now we're here at Abaddon, but first we're going to go to the camp. This is a forest camp. You don't have to activate it, but you have to walk into it. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm doing marathon strats. Now, I really like marathon strats because I don't like resetting, and so we always finish a speedrun on my stream. So anytime I stream speedrunning, we always finish at least one run, because I think it's really valuable to practice marathon strats and just playing through even like just all sorts of randomness and stuff that can happen during your run. Because if you're performing at a marathon or something, or whatever it is, it could be an online stream or something, or you could go to a GDQ, it's totally possible that something that you've never seen before happens. And so being able to adapt and playing through those weird runs is just it's valuable information. So here is the first set of upgrades I get. So number one, I'm going to get Blink. This just makes the Abaddon fight a little bit cleaner. When you do research it though, you're forced to research, and then when you do, you have to train it. But you can just press start and get out of the training section real quick. And then as soon as you hear the music change back to the camp music, you can press L2 and up left, which you can see I did there, and I buffered the input so I was able to research ambush a little bit faster. Ambush will let us do stealth kills. If we're behind an enemy, we can press triangle. And the stealth kills are instant kills. They're super useful. We use them throughout the entire run. Okay, next, Abaddon. I'm going to set up with the 2 barrels here on the left, and then the blink makes it very clean, where it'll put Abaddon closer to the barrels. So that's basically the reason I get blink. Besides that, we don't do any blink attacks for Abaddon. He won't do any more blinks. And all you really have is triplet to interrupt his attacks. I think that if you charge the triangle beta skill as well, I forget what it's called right now. I think it's called cross slash. I can't remember. But the triangle beta skill, if you hold it down, I think it also stuns. Anyway, I prefer using triplet. You just want to make sure that you save enough triplet to interrupt this first lightning attack that he does right here. At the beginning of phase 2, he will always do lightning every single time. And it's very slow if you let it happen. Now this other type of lightning, the smaller lightning attack, it's not as bad. If it comes through, it's no big deal. But if you have enough beta energy, you can interrupt that one as well. Notice that I got some interrupts there by breaking his shield. So it's always nice when that happens. And besides that, don't end the fight wasting all your beta energy. You want to save some. The section coming up in the parking tower, it is a little bit precarious, and so you want to save some beta energy. But that was a fine Abaddon fight. Not our fastest splits because our spider ambush section didn't go that fast. So that's alright. After this, every boss will drop some loot. Now the loot gets picked up in random order. The most important thing usually is just the weapon core. The weapon cores are really useful because they increase the damage of your blood edge. And that's going to be our main kind of damage increase throughout the entire run. So if you know that you don't need the resources, like all the crafting material or the gears that they drop, you could just get the weapon core, which is the biggest sphere on the ground, and just move on. But early on, you want to get the crafting materials anyway, because I want to upgrade the chain type exospine, which we're going to use, as well as the eagle eye exospine, which we always pick up because it's on the way. And so here we have parking tower. Now, these enemies are blocking the chain type exospine. We have to kill them. So I like to hit this barrel. This is something I just started doing. It does some nice damage to the cricket slasher because he otherwise has a lot of health. And this got a little bit scary. The cricket slasher, their scariest attack is that poison cloud, because when you're inside of it, you're just taking a bunch of damage. But luckily I didn't take too much damage there. By the way, if you didn't know, you cannot interact with any items, you can't open any doors, anything, if you're in combat. So that's why we have to kill the enemies there. Otherwise, it'd be nice if we could just run in, grab the exospine, and leave. But no, we gotta kill them. And now here, usually, if you see that guy, the cricket slasher up top, if you see him turning around, that's a perfect sign. If you see them turning around, that usually means that the barnacle downstairs is at the correct orientation where they're facing away from you. That barnacle, which is the guy with the shield, the barnacle was not in the correct spot, and so I ended up having to fight him, which is also really slow. Usually you would just get an ambush kill. That's actually why I research ambush so early on, so I can kill this dude. Because the barnacles are very slow to fight. I mean, you have to basically wait to parry them, and it's just a huge waste of time compared to just getting an ambush kill on them. But it's alright. We're killing him. Again, it's valuable practice. It really is valuable, because if you're doing this in a marathon, it could happen, you know? You could get messed up in parking tower, and then suddenly, oh, I gotta fight the barnacle, so it's good to just practice these random things. So here I'm getting the fusion cell. Fusion cells are a common item that you pick up throughout the entire game to unlock progression. Here we need 2 of them. One is just grabbed by popping that carb on it, and then this one is locked behind this chest, which only becomes like you can't open it until all the enemies are dead in the area. Now we're gonna meet Dozer. Now Dozer is an enemy that is the enemy exists pretty much to prepare you to fight a boss coming up called Corruptor. They have very similar movesets, and but he's kind of tough, so we don't want to fight him. He has kind of a lot of health. So I'll be running away from him immediately, and I'm going to go pick up a health upgrade and drone upgrade material. So I like to run right along there to try to... I'm trying to encourage the Dozer to go into the wall. I do not want him to chase me. So luckily he didn't chase me, because the Dozer, believe it or not, could reach all the way over here and chase you around the wall. And then you'd have to fight him over here, which sucks, wastes a lot of time. Now I'm going to get another health upgrade. By the way, you know, to align with the goal of studying like marathon practice and stuff like that, I'm getting the health upgrades. If you were going for like a really, really competitive time, you wouldn't be picking this up. If you're playing on story mode, I also wouldn't recommend picking them up. I think it's better to just learn with the, you know, the small amount of health. But since I'm playing on normal and I want to do marathon practice, if I was at a marathon, I'd be grabbing this because it adds a lot of insurance later for like turrets and stuff, which you'll see when we get there. But there I was trying to get a lucky backstab. I didn't get the ambush kill on him, so we're just fighting him normally. It's all right. Ooh, I was hoping that my attack would beat him out, but no, it didn't. I could have just done the blink there. In general, you could just do the blink, especially if you're lower on health. I'm pretty low on health here. Typically, I'd have like at least 1 tumbler here, but we took a lot of damage in. I guess because we fought the barnacle, and yeah, we took some extra damage. Anyway, we do a few of these puzzles throughout the run. Luckily, if you've played Stellar Blade casually, you know that there's the other type of puzzle that looks just like that, but the arrows are, you know, the order is random. You gotta really pay attention. So it's lucky that we don't do any of those throughout the speedrun. There we picked up another Omnibolt. The Omnibolts, by the way, the first 2 chests that we got with Omnibolts. Oh, and one more thing. I opened the door first as that bot is dropping its loot, because it's a little bit faster that way. With the Omnibolts, you could either get 1 or 2. So if you're really lucky, you would get multiple. You could have 4 right now. But that's not typical. So again, marathon strats, right? I'm going to be opening 1 more chest with Omnibolts. And if you wanted to, you could even have like 3 slots. I'm only getting... Here's a nice assault kill, by the way. I'm only going to be getting enough gear slots for 2 gears. So I'm unlocking 1 extra. But if you got lucky, let's say you had a good run going and you got lucky and you got extra Omnibolts from every chest, you could unlock, you know, 3 gear slots and have an extra bonus that way if you wanted. But again, you can't depend on that, so I've never like actually gone for that, but you could. So we take out the spiders there. Just use your triangle beta skill at your leisure. Like whenever you feel like you should use it. It's your best. It's like literally your best crowd control, and you're always getting more beta energy. We only need a few beta energy to kill Corruptor efficiently, so it's all good. Use it whenever you want. Here I do 6 quick swims, and then I do another quick swim once I'm underwater. But if you press R2 at the right time, you can interrupt the swim. Because if you overswim, you lose kind of a lot of time. And by the way, it's always faster to quick swim above water than underwater, so unless you have to, stay above water. That'll be more relevant in Matrix 11 once we get there later. So there's another code. By the way, I also, like I said, I write down the codes so that I can look at them, but you can also see them pop up on your screen. Like right as you pick up the key code, it'll show up on the left on a little like preview. So you can also make note of it there. I just like writing it down so I can look at them and see ahead of time what's coming. Here we have the next camp. I'm going to get some more upgrades here. Now, here is a pretty important upgrade. This is Beta Chain. That's all I'm going to be researching, and it's all I really have SP for. So we get Beta Energy Recharge and Beta Chain. Now, Beta Chain will allow us to interrupt any attack, pretty much. Unless it's an invincible attack. So we can really not worry so much about bosses now that we have this. And then later we'll get the shotgun, which will further allow us to interrupt bosses and then make, you know, boss fights a lot more trivial. Here we're going to do a quick little puzzle. The puzzle solution is 3861. That's how I remember it. I say 3861 in my head, so I remember that 38 is together, and then you have 61, so there's spaces there. And you always, the numbers on the left, you pick them up in the same way. If you wanted to, you could like choose the number that like go in order, but I just like to mash X through it, and then whatever number I pick up, because it's always in the same order, I just put them in that way. Alrighty, so now we have Flooded Sector. Have I talked about the main movement attack? I'm pretty sure I did, but we're pretty much just rushing. The rush will get a lot better once we upgrade it. I'm gonna upgrade it before Gigas. Right now it's pretty good, it's still worth doing, but it's not as incredible as when you finish upgrading it. Because the rush, you know, where you hold triangle, it doesn't really extend that far right now. Later we're gonna upgrade it so it extends like almost double. It gets very, very good. And it's mostly for movement, but it's also useful against bosses when bosses get far away from you, which some do. Some teleport away from you, or they could fly away, and so it is also just practical to have. The game really loves to show you that Taki's dead, like over and over. It just shoves it in your face. And it's so brutal because it's like, oh cool, I get to skip the cutscene, but nope, you have to watch this specific part one more time. So yeah, if you love Taki, I love Taki, and it is rough. We see her die a lot in our resets and stuff in the speedrun. Okay. Once you're like down the first set of steps, you can use a rush. I like to use rush to get into cutscenes because it saves on pressing circle to cancel out of the recovery frames. So whenever you get the chance, use rush to get into a cutscene. Okay, so now we have another key code to grab. Here I'm just managing rush, you know, paying attention to when it's available again. Also, anytime you have like one, like right there, see how I just had to get up one ledge? The game maintains your sprint. There's also some cutscenes where the game maintains your sprint, and I'll point them out whenever I can. But it's something that you'll just learn with experience, where it's like, oh, I don't actually have to press sprint again. And you want to avoid pressing sprint again. By the way, one of those boxes had a Bitcoin in it. So I'll still point out the safety Bitcoins that I always grab just every time as a habit. Because, you know, just to get them. It's good to always get them, just in case, because you can't rely on the drops. Here, those spiders were scarily close to the Guardian here. If those spiders are in a bad spot, if they're like right next to the Guardian, it kind of sucks because it's almost faster to just kill everything. But if they're far away enough, you can kill them and then walk around the Guardian and just access that key code right there. Okay, now we're going to do a little tiny movement skip. This saves a little bit of time. We're going to go up this ladder and then turn around, and as long as you're sprinting, it's no problem. You can make this jump easily. Do a little jump and an air dash for safety, and that's that. Now at this stage, you're coming up, your biggest obstacle would be fall damage. You could die to fall damage here, so just be careful. Make sure you hit your safe landings. A safe landing is just when you press X right before landing so that Eve does a nice roll, and it'll avoid the fall damage. So there's one, and then I like to try to get a jump there, land closer to this entry panel here. The answer here is always 12:25. It's just the time on the clock tower. And now we're coming up to Memory Tower. So the Memory Tower, we're gonna have to kill some spiders first. By the way, here's the other safety Bitcoin. Just to be safe, because I'm low on health, I drop down one platform and then drop down the other one. Otherwise, you could just drop straight down. There's the other Bitcoin. We just grabbed it from that camp. And now we have two Bitcoins. So we picked up one in 807, a little bit before Abaddon, and we picked up that one. So now we'll have two to buy the double edge gear later from Kaya. So since we got damage upgrades, I'm going to just kill these guys with 3 light attacks, square, 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 and they will die no problem. There you go. And now we're going to go around and grab the credentials here. This body here is necessary. It'll allow us to get into the memory tower. And then make sure you're just careful. Just take a nice wide turn to guarantee the backstab on the heavy guardian there, because that guy has a lot of health. You don't want to fight him. This little guardian, we're just going to take out with an onslaught 4 and a rush. That'll kill him. And then we're going to grab the last key code for Eidos 7. So just heading down here, entering the key code, grabbing the fusion cell, and then now we're kind of in an auto scroller. There's not really much left. We're going to do some walking, so this is a good part to kind of just like review your notes, you know, whatever you got to do. Get a sip of water. Because as we're walking, you can pretty much do whatever you want. All you really got to do is hold down forward. Another thing that I like to do is I like to write the upgrades, like the upgrade path that I'm going to be doing. I don't really have to look at this anymore, but like in my first several speedruns, it was comforting just seeing what's coming up, like what's next. Like so for here, like so far we've upgraded Perfect Dodge, then we got Blink and Ambush, then I got Beta Chain, and then before Gigas, I'm going to be upgrading Lightning Rush, Infinite Rush. I'm going to get Focus Boost as well. And writing it down also lets you look at it on paper and realize, oh, you know what, maybe I could change that. Maybe I don't really need that this early, or maybe I don't need that at all, or I could get that later in the game. And you can kind of manage your SP that way. So there really is a lot of room to make the speedrun your own, like come up with your own route. And, you know, play the way that is most enjoyable to you. If you want, or if you're just chasing leaderboard spots or whatever, then I guess you would just watch the highest run at the time and emulate them and try to just do it a little bit better. But there's also room to, again, Stellar Blade is literally, this game is all about expressing yourself. You know, you have so many options in combat. You have multiple options in your gear loadouts, you know, what costume you use, etc. And maybe that'd be a reason that you might want to run New Game Plus instead. Maybe you want to use your favorite costume, whatever it is. For me, I just like running the category that gives me the most freedom to select my build, because if I'm playing with every skill, then I'll feel like I just have to rely on the most whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I have to use the best stuff. I got to use the best gears and blah, blah, blah. But it's fun deciding, like, I want this gear, I'm going to use these, and I'm going to, you know, I'm going to upgrade these things at these times. Now, for this walking section, the last message is this one, where it says, without the need of a spacesuit. This is the last message, and so after this message, you know that you can get back to running. So as soon as you kind of regain control of Eve, you can go back into a sprint. And now we're coming up to Corruptor. Corruptor's a pretty straightforward boss. Very limited moveset. Actually, the most limited moveset, yeah, in the game. I think so. Maybe Tutorial Brute has less moves. But either way, it's very small amount of moves. It feels like less of a boss than Abaddon. But you don't want to mess around with Corruptor. Like, you could still die to just some of his projectiles. His projectiles deal quite a bit of damage. And he always opens the fight the same way. So you're going to see here when we get into the fight. He always opens with like a water balloon attack. I like to just run around it and then get in. As soon as the water balloon is out of the way, once it's out of the picture, you can attack him safely. And we're pretty much just going to be using beta chains and parrying if it's convenient. If you see a blink, usually just go for the blink unless you're like about to finish a beta chain. Doing the blinks is nice because it guarantees you, it gives you a stun, and so it guarantees you a nice long combo. So there's a blink, I'm going to go for it here. And then right after a blink, I like to do Onslaught Force, which is triangle, square, triangle, your longest combo that deals the most damage. And the most important thing to avoid is don't let him do the fountain attack. I think he does it during this fight, I can't remember. Okay, there's another blink, which I cut off that time. This is the fountain. So luckily, I noticed it, and so I finished off my beta chain, because the fountain drops acid all over the floor, and it just wastes a ton of time. So whenever convenient, you know, try to parry, and then go into, just do your beta chains, just end the fight as soon as possible without letting him run away from you, and without letting him do the fountain attack, which creates distance, because you gotta stand back. Otherwise, you're just gonna die in the acid. Okay, now we're gonna pick up all this loot. Again, we need some of this stuff to increase. We're gonna level up our exospine and stuff, and we want his weapon core as well. Here is a perfect dodge. This is scripted, so you press dodge at the same time every time. So as soon as you go around that corner, just press circle. And then I like to heal around here too. You don't have to worry too much about your health. Like if you're at low health right here, don't worry about it. You shouldn't be though, because it's just, you just got a full heal. That's something I forgot to mention. When you go down to the memory tower, when you go down into the Hall of Records at the memory tower, the game fully restores your tumblers as well as your health. So that's why, as you can see, earlier I had 0, but now I'm back to max. Well, I have 2 now, and I didn't stop at any camps. There's a few sections in the game that do that, and I'll point them out. I'll try to remember to point them out anyway. Now, here we have to grab 3 ID cards. The ID cards are conveniently spread out, like so you start right next to this one, so I like to grab this one first. And then here's another perfect dodge, which is also scripted. I just missed it that time. But that's another one where, like, as soon as you go around the corner, as soon as you jump in front of those, like, once you walk in front of the boxes, you can just press circle. Ideally, you would get a stealth kill here. This guy's kind of, he's not close to the wall, so I just go a little bit slower, and then I get behind him. The Cricket Butcher there, the one with, like, the tiger stripes, they are a bit more dangerous than the Cricket Slashers, and they have a repulse attack, which we don't have a repulse right now, so unless you do a beta chain to interrupt it, you're gonna probably die. So I like to get an ambush kill whenever I can on the Cricket Butchers. Here we got some shock grenades, which is pretty nice. Shock grenades are a nice item to down bosses, but that guy, that creeper, we got to keep that spider alive so we can get down safely. And now we're going to touch the camp. Now this is very important that you touch the camp right here, because it's going to allow us to death abuse in a couple minutes here. That's all we're doing. The camp is just to death abuse later. Now we're moving on to the next one. Now, so here you can get a self kill on this Cricket Slasher as well. I don't remember if I get it here, but you can kind of just see. You can see if he's in position. Looks like I get it here. I do. And this is nice because typically the spider behind you will chase you if you get the stealth kill. And this is ideal because there's another spider to the left. So over in that corner, you didn't see him there, but there's a spider just there, down there. And if you fight the first spider too close to him, he'll notice you, and then you'll have to kill 2 spiders, which of course wastes time. Because you got to kill all the enemies. You have to be out of combat before you can activate the generator. And the generator allows us to go up here. So the elevator is going to take us to the next ID card. There's a nice cutscene here, but, you know, we don't have time for that. We skip all the cutscenes, besides a couple unskippable ones. So that is 2 out of 3 ID cards. Now, you might think, can I just death abuse here and drop off? It's a good idea, but no, it doesn't work, because since you don't touch the ground, it doesn't count as, like, fall damage and dying. What happens is, you just, pretty much, Eve just respawns at the top of the, you know, where you fell off from. So it doesn't work that way. But in a second here, you're going to see what the death abuse does look like, because we're going to hit the floor and die from fall damage. Once you're past, like, once you're right here into the entryway of this area, you can use your rush safely. If you use it any earlier than that, it's likely that you will lock on to one of the enemies nearby. Even if an enemy is petrified, if it's still just like a statue, the rush can still lock onto them. Now here, if your timing is lucky, you'll get an ambush, but on that guy, he just turned around, so I didn't get it. So I accepted my fate. I just fought him. But if you're lucky, you will get an ambush on this dude. It happens very rarely for me. Usually the timing doesn't work out for me. So here we gotta take out this heavy guardian so we can open the last ID card chest. Just use some beta chains, whatever you want to do. And now we are done. So I'm gonna jump off. We're just gonna run out and jump off, and it'll respawn us at the last camp that we auto-saved at. I got a little caught up on the geometry there. So this is one of the only planned deaths in the run. All the other deaths, I don't remember, I don't think we died otherwise, but any other death besides that one is unplanned. So it's nice because the camp is right next to this control panel. And we're going to be using just the right analog stick. Yeah, the right analog stick, if you just hold it straight down, it moves the only crane you got to move. There's 2 cranes, but you don't have to move them both because we're just trying to get across. There's 2 cranes because, like, you could... There's secrets, like, on the side. The walls on either side of the entryway to the next area, they're breakable, and they'll have, like, one has a costume, the other one has, I think, an exospine, maybe. So, yeah, now we're through. Okay, for this section, it's mostly just running through. We're only going to kill, like, 1 enemy. Otherwise, we're ignoring everyone. And that is true for a lot of the enemies you don't actually have to fight. You can kind of just ignore them, which is nice. Just be careful with your rush here to not lock onto any enemies. As soon as this pillar is done falling, once it's like past the floor where you're standing on, you can jump onto it. You don't have to let it... You don't have to wait for it to set completely, if that makes sense. That little projectile hit me. It's okay if it does. It's not a big deal. It only wastes a little bit of health. And as you can see, since we just respawned at the camp, we got all of our tumblers back. So we're all prepared to fight Gigas, which is the boss that we're coming up to. Just ignore that guy. We don't gotta kill anyone unless you were... That would be a quick enemy to kill if you were doing some kind of different SP route. So if you were, like, let's say you skipped out on some of the enemies I killed earlier, maybe you'd want to kill that Cricket Butcher for some quick experience for a different route. And then this Guardian is necessary. We gotta kill this guy because 2 things. We gotta get the Floodgate Key as well as this Omnibolt chest. I'm grabbing this one. I got 2 Omnibolts there and a speed increase gear. I'm not going to use the speed increase gear. You could if you want to, but I'm only going to be using the Omnibolt. I grabbed it there because we've opened 3 so far now. So now even if you got unlucky and each one only had 1 Omnibolt inside of it, you would have enough to get a new gear slot. By the way, I jumped off there to de-aggro the enemies so I can then press the button. Okay, and this is what we needed the Floodgate Key for. So now that we've pressed the button, we can drop down and get the other Floodgate Key, and then we can move on to Gigas. But not before we grab 1 more drone upgrade module. By the way, again, since I'm swimming here, I'm going to just swim above water first, because it's a little bit faster, and then I dive down. So there's the other Floodgate Key. Then we just got to climb the ladder and press another button. And then we're done with this area. The swimming, you know, the swimming isn't really that finicky, but the biggest thing to watch out for is you don't want to overswim. If you swim just past something like an item that you're trying to interact with, or maybe like a key panel, like a key code panel, turning around is very awkward, so you want to avoid that as much as you can. It's better to underswim by a little bit than to overswim. So here I'm going to be doing, I think, 3 fast swims, and then I start rising, do 1 more fast swim, and then we are here. Now here's the next drone upgrade module. We've killed, this is the second drone upgrade module bot that we will kill, and it will guarantee that we grab, that we can get shotgun early, because we want the shotgun for Maelstrom 1. Once we get to Altess, we have a boss called Maelstrom that if you kill it with the shotgun, it's much, much faster than just relying on the slug ammo. By the way, there, that drone upgrade, that little bot dropped 2 Vitcoins. So right there, I mean, as you can see, you can get lucky sometimes with the Vitcoins. But I always grab the safety ones. Again, marathon strats. Better to rely on the guaranteed than, you know, rely on like randomness. Here I will be upgrading a couple things. Number 1, I need Lightning Rush and then Infinite Rush. So we're going to have the longest rush. And then I like to get Focus Boost. You don't really need Focus Boost. I just like it to make the fight a little bit easier. And then since we're here, I'm going to be using the Weapon Core, and we're also going to grab our Gear Socket. And since we got our Gear Socket, you may as well put a gear in. If you wanted to, you could use the gear, like the speed increase gear, but since we're going to be using Shield Destruction anyway, I'm going to be putting on the Shield Destruction gear, because we're going to be using that the next time we get a chance to change up our gears. And they can just go into the Gigas fight. Now, since he just upgraded Rush, even if Gigas runs away from you, no big deal, you can catch up to him really fast. There's not much that's too dangerous that he can do. The most dangerous thing that Gigas will do is, like, he has a 3-string unblockable attack, and that one is really slow. The other thing that he does that is slow is his 5-string, which he was about to start right there. The 5-string is a nice one if you're going for a Retribution, but typically it's faster to just attack normally than going for Retributions. So otherwise, just stay close to him. At 60%, he'll have another... He has a phase change, so just back off, and then he's going to change phases. By the way, any phase change attack, like from phase 1 to 2, or from phase 2 to 3 for some bosses, none of those attacks will deal damage to you. So any transitional attack does not deal damage. And sometimes this is a good opportunity to build more beta energy by just continuing to attack. By the way, I tried using a grenade there because I had gotten some from a lucky drop. Unfortunately, he was airborne at that time, so my grenade didn't go through. So with a little bit better timing on the grenade, I could have gotten a nicer, like a faster kill on Gigas. Anytime you get a blink, usually just go for it. That way you can get a nice onslaught 4 in there. And he was about to do his like donkey kick attack. So if you're behind Gigas, he'll do a kind of like an elbow attack at you. And that's a 2-string. But yeah, that's Gigas. It's worth giving all the bosses a little bit of practice before jumping into speedrunning. Or at the very least, you know, practice the ones that you struggle with the most. For me, for a while, those were Demo Crawler and... it was Demo Crawler and Elder, but that's back when I was fighting Elder. Now I don't fight Elder anymore. I just fight Providence because it's a much easier boss fight for me. And it ends up... It kind of turns up... It's like about the same amount of time. Elder versus Providence is like... We'll talk about that when we get there, but... The thing with Providence is that after you kill Providence, you have to sit through a credits sequence. If you played like Devil May Cry 3, at the end of Devil May Cry 3, you gotta kill some enemies while the credits are running. And you have to just kill a bunch of angels, these enemies that are, you know, perpetually respawning until the credits start. So that wastes a bit of time. By the way, here we are at Lily. All the dialogue here you can press X through. So the entire time I'm pressing X. You don't have to mash it that hard, but you know, you want to be tapping it at a pretty consistent pace to speed up the dialogue here. So this is kind of like the first rest point. You don't really gotta do any thinking here. It's just basically gonna be pressing X through some dialogue, skipping some cutscenes, and following, you know, walking. And so this is a good time to, you know, get a drink of water, maybe review your notes as you're pressing X, think about what's coming up next. Or like if you're streaming, you could talk to chat at this point. This is a great time to talk to chat. And yeah. Or if you're playing with like your partner or a friend who's watching you, this is a great time to hand off the controller. Just let them press X. They don't really gotta do anything. They just gotta press X and move forward. You could go use the bathroom, because the next bathroom break that we get is in about like a little bit less than an hour. After we finish Matrix 11, that is like the best bathroom break, like food break, that you can get in the entire run. So yeah, here we are coming up on Xion. And again, now that we're out of Eidos 7, it's like, okay, now we got a run going because there's no more RNG, pretty much. We're basically through the randomness. The biggest random points were the creeper ambush with the spiders. that that we use barrels on. The Heavy Guardian right after those creepers that you could usually get a fast kill if it works out for you. You can kill the Guardian with just the barrels. And then also the ambushes. So some of the ambushes on like the enemies when you're getting the ID cards, that's also kind of random, their positioning on the Cricket Butchers and stuff. And whether or not they notice you. I swear, sometimes it feels like the enemies have just eyes in the back of their heads. And they'll notice me where I felt like, I don't know if you should have seen me, but I feel like maybe it also depends on if you're running. Maybe they hear you. I don't know. But, most of the time you can kind of manipulate. You can get an ambush if you're careful. It's just deciding whether or not it's worth it to be a little bit carefuler, like to be more careful and get an ambush, or just kill them right away and just run at them. But yeah, this area is basically just break time. We get a few minutes of this before we move on to Altess. So again, good time to review your notes. Let's see, what other notes did I make here? Honestly, those are the only notes that I keep. Yeah, I just like to keep notes of the solutions. It's like all the key codes. And then my upgrade tree. That's it. Here I'm just taking like the closest line. I used to think that it was kind of faster to stand right in front of Adam, because I felt like maybe he was pushing me forward, but I don't do that anymore. I think it's faster to just run straight, like take the fastest racing line to the lift here. And in front of the presence chamber is there's a whole camp that you could research upgrades on and do whatever. But I'm not going to be using this one because I prefer upgrading at Lily by the tetrapod. And also we haven't unlocked our gun yet. So since we haven't unlocked our gun, we cannot upgrade the gun yet since we need to talk to Lily. She'll reward it. She rewards us with the gun after these cutscenes, so not much point in stopping at that camp. But after this camp, like after you get the gun, if you prefer, you could always upgrade at that one. However you remember, you could either do it there or at Lily. Wherever you remember to upgrade your stuff, do it at that one. Either before the presence chamber or at Lily. It's just up to your preference. Anyway, yeah, pretty slow section here. I can talk about this route a little bit. So basically everything that I learned as far as this route goes, I learned from the Chinese runner. His username is it's like E1U May. And it was just the only, at the time when I started running this game, it was the only speedrun on speedrun.com. And so it's the only one that I watched most of. And so pretty much all my strategies are from that speedrun. So the route is basically the same as that one for the most part. We've just done some optimizing and had a lot of fun working on this route. I really like playing with the chain type exospine because I feel like it's just like the natural way to play. And I also enjoy it because the chain type exospine is just nostalgic to me since I use it a lot during the demo. So I do love me some chain type exospine. But of course there's gonna be other routes. There's other gear you could use instead if you were chasing, specific times. Like if you're chasing just the best time, you're better off just watching the whatever the first place run at the time is. Just emulate them and just try to copy them, but just do a little bit better. But again, since I enjoy playing this way, that's why I'm doing this route. And I think this is a good route to show off as well in a marathon because it's pretty consistent for me. Like most of the runs we've gotten recently are right around 3 hours. So I would feel safe submitting an estimate of like exactly 3 hours. Especially once I practice this a bit more, we can make room for, maybe I'd make it like 305 just to be extra safe. Like account for a couple deaths or something, whatever, stuff could happen. All right, now we're out of the presence chamber. Now, every time you come out of the presence chamber, as soon as your HUD pops up, you can rush, but not for this one. Only for this first time, you cannot use rush, but you can sprint. And then in general, after every dialogue cutscene after leaving the presence chamber, the game will maintain your sprint status, so you can immediately go into a sprint, doesn't matter what direction. But if you are sprinting going into the cutscene, you'll still be sprinting as you come out of the cutscene. And here I'm pressing X again to go through all of this dialogue. Basically all the dialogue with Adam and Lily, you can just press X through. Okay, and now we're kind of like at our first free roam section of the game. Make sure you avoid that guy on the right. There was a dude standing by the wall there. And to my understanding, it's like a game developer. I forget what game, but someone in chat had mentioned that it's a game developer from some other studio, and they just put him in here, which is kind of funny. So we just want to avoid him because otherwise he'll like stop you mid, you know, like he'll stop you in your like dead center in your tracks. He'll be like, "Hey, are you looking for a sister's junk?" Which is the shop we just arrived at. So this is Kaya, and Kaya is so useful. She will sell us the double edge gear. Actually, this is the only NPC we talked to in the whole game, whose shop we use. Here in Xion, we don't talk to anyone else. So Kaya, that's our girl. We're gonna buy the double edge gear as soon as we finish all this dialogue. And we will purchase it from her using 2 Bitcoins. And you could have either gotten Bitcoins from random drops or the 2 safety ones that I always like to grab next to those camps that I pointed out earlier in 807. And careful not to mash X too hard here. So you want to press it like 3 times and then go down to shop. If you press bike by accident, you're going to be going through a bunch of dialogue and wasting time. Alright, so cool. Now we got our double edge gear, and now we can head back. We're going to head backwards towards the presence chamber. And we're doing that because we want to activate the phone. Now the phone here, the phones in this game are like waypoints, and they let you teleport around between phones and camps. They're extremely useful. Well, this is the only one we grab in the game, but this thing is extremely useful because we come back here to the presence chamber a few times, and so it just saves a lot of time. So we run backwards and grab it, and then we head from here to the tetrapod. We're gonna be doing this a lot, so make sure to, you know, this phone is your best friend. As soon as we get here, we're gonna jump into a cutscene with Lily, and she gets very excited and she wants to show us this brand new gun that she made for us. So she modified the drone, and we have our gun now. So the gun is gonna be super overpowered. It is like, it's so busted, it's crazy. The shotgun and explosive shell are gonna be doing tons of work for us throughout the entire run. And I wouldn't be surprised if they nerf this at some point, but who knows? It's really only overpowered in the sense of like the speedrun. For casual play, it's probably fine, but it's really good and not too expensive. Now, the explosive shells, they're kind of expensive. If you die too many times using WB pumps, you may run out of money and not be able to restock on explosive shells when you need them. But the shotgun ammo is pretty cheap. So you here at the first shop, first of all, we need to talk to Lily, use the repair console, and we're going to use this repair console to upgrade our shotgun. That's the first order of business. And then I got the attack upgrade here, but you don't need it because we're going to come back here later. We're not going to use our sword at all coming up, so we don't actually need that attack upgrade. Then I'm buying explosive, I'm buying shotgun ammo and slug ammo, and then 2 WB pumps. Now, you could buy your explosive ammo as well. I like to buy it later because we're going to pick up some random explosive ammo for free when we're running through Altess. And so, since we don't even have the explosive ammo unlocked yet, but you can still buy it ahead of time. So since we're going to get some free ammo, I like to save just a little bit of money and just only buy the shotgun ammo, only buy the slug ammo, only buy the necessary stuff. We're going to use the shotgun to kill Quiel here coming up in a bit. So yeah, that doesn't seem like a lot of money savings, but the money that you save there not buying explosive ammo does help a little bit if you wanted to route in like a couple of extra grenades. Like maybe you want to use a couple of, you know, the shock grenades on a specific boss, and now you have money for them. Or maybe you want to just have a couple of whatever. Maybe you're on hard difficulty and you want to have some extra potions. You know, maybe it matters saving that money. So again, it's not a huge difference, but I like to just only buy the shotgun ammo there. Just buy the necessary stuff only. Okay, now here we are at the Wasteland. Another thing you could turn on, by the way, since patch 1.004, I believe, they added a static HUD, like a static compass at the top of the screen. You can toggle it on if you want. I'm not playing with it on because, again, I just think it makes the viewer experience a little bit better, just so my screen looks nicer and there's less stuff on it. Because there's already so much stuff, like with the splits and me and the controller layout. So that's why I play with my HUD on adaptive, so it fades away, and then I also have the compass not showing. But if you wanted to, like when you're starting out, maybe I would recommend just turning on the compass to always show. That way you always know which direction to run in case you know, get lost. But here, it's just kind of like a straight shot for Quiel. When you see the North Lake Mall, that's how you know you're on the right path. By the way, that North Lake Mall sign, it really reminds me of like the Willamette Mall sign from like Dead Rising / Dawn of the Dead. That's why I always think of that one anyway. do a little bit of wall running here. And we're going to just be managing our rush. Whenever you get a chance, just use your rush. And, you know, always cancel out of the recovery frames using circle. Here you can do a little bit of a funny jump. You can kind of get high enough to just go over this rock structure there. Saves a tiny bit of time. You don't have to do it, though. Like, if you miss it, it's not a big deal. And then here, be careful, because if you use your rush too early, you could auto-walk onto that sentry dude on the left. So be careful with your rush, because now that we have a longer rush, since we upgraded it to infinite rush, it has a longer lock-on as well. Okay, so coming up, there is a little section here where you may want to kill the enemies. I like just not killing them. I usually leave them alive. Only one time it has screwed me where I lost 4 minutes just waiting around, and then I ended up jumping off thinking I would respawn, but I died. I took fall damage and died. So only once has it screwed me, so I'm still doing it. I like to not kill these enemies, and that usually takes about like 6 or 7 seconds, and then you can open the Eagle Eye Exospine. This Eagle Eye Exospine in this chest is really important. Another thing I just did there is I switched my ammo from slug to shotgun. Since we're here at we're just waiting around, I just go ahead and switch it, and then I like to equip everything. So now I'm going to be putting on Eagle Eye Exospine. I'm going to put that on, as well as the double edge gear that we bought from Kaya. So now our loadout is Eagle Eye, double edge gear, and shield destruction gear 1 star. And the shield destruction gear is going to be very clutch against the against Oracle's Guardians specifically. So we're coming up to the Quiel mini boss fight, and she cannot be interrupted. You cannot stun her with beta skills, you cannot stun her with beta chain, you can't do anything to her besides break her shield. So if you break her shield, she will be stunned briefly. And that's true for any boss. Even if a boss is doing like an invincible attack, if you break their shields, it will interrupt them. That's the only thing that is consistent, like, as far as interrupting bosses. Because some bosses, pretty much every boss has at least one invincible attack that you can't do anything about. Alright, so by the way, the camps, don't touch the camps, because if you touch them, you might think like, oh, maybe I should get an autosave here. If you didn't know, if you touch that camp, you will, even though you don't like, you can't activate the camp, if you die here at Quiel, you will respawn at that camp. But the problem is that you go through a long cutscene, so it's better just, you know, study Quiel, you know, outside of a speedrun, and then just jump into the boss fight. But trust me, for her, you don't really need to practice anything, because look, we're just going to shoot her down. It takes 2 shotgun shells to break her shield, which will interrupt her. Then she usually backs up and does a little sidestep. Let her do all that and then go back to shooting her. That's how it goes, like, pretty much every time. So it's very consistent. The shotgun obliterates her. We effectively skip this boss. Now her sister is a little bit more tricky because she has more health and she does 2 strings. But I'll show you my setup for it to get a consistent kill on Shael later. So just make sure you don't touch any of the camps because you don't want to waste extra time. Now we're moving into Altess. Here I switch back to Slug real quick while the door is opening. By the way, shift up. I would love it if you guys, this is like one of my only complaints. I really wish, I have so few complaints about this game, so few. I really wish we could just switch our ammo quickly by using one of the thing is the left and right D-pad, they're not used for anything, nothing in the game. Maybe when they add photo mode, one of those buttons will be like photo mode, I guess, whatever. But even so, the other one could be used to swap ammo. Even if it's just like a cycle, like, you know, just going through the whole thing. I would love it if we could quickly do that real time instead of having to pause the game briefly. It's brief, but you still gotta stop and waste time a little bit to switch your ammo. So it would also make combat smoother outside of the speedrunning context of it. By the way, here you can mash X through this dialogue, and it does maintain your sprint. So if you go into that dialogue with sprint, you'll come out of it with sprint. Even outside of a speedrun context, it'd be so nice to just be able to switch your ammo quickly because, like, it'd make combat smoother. You could use different ammo types, like, without having to awkwardly aim, you know, switch your ammo and then decide, okay, do I want to use it here? So that is one little thing I wish they would add. All right, so we fail the purification scanner. As soon as the doors, the back 2 panels fall, you can jump up and then do some wall running, and then just jump off and press circle to air dash your way over. Now, there's going to be a body bag that spawns in front of us. I like to stand on the right side to get it away from the button. In fact, I forgot to do it there, so let it do like once it crawls towards you like 1 time, the flames will be out of the way, because if the flames are blocking the button, you'll take damage and that'll interrupt your ability to open the door. And then we can just pretty much sprint through this section. There are going to be 2 body bags that fall. I like to shoot the one in the back completely to death, and then I like to shoot the one in front of me like once or twice, just to aggro it so that it... The thing is, the body bags, if you run past them, they will aggro themselves, and they will self-destruct. But if you haven't... If I just went straight running, sometimes it takes them a bit to like realize that you ran past them. So if you shoot them to aggro them and get their attention first, they will immediately notice you. Just make sure you shoot this guy in the weak point to blow him up a little bit faster. He always falls exactly right there, so if you're just aiming towards the back of it, like he has like a red pouch on his back, you get a nice quick kill on him. Okay, and then for here, you're just gonna be running, and then as soon as you get past that red thing on the right, that's my cue to jump. And then we're gonna jump again to avoid a grab. And now we have a defiler. This is like a mutated defiler. It's gonna drop some body bags. You want to kill those ASAP because we want to clear the flames. The flames are blocking the button, so while those things are dissipating, you know, you have time to turn around and kill the other dude. So there's a button press, and now we're jumping into the PlayStation room. Now the PlayStation room, the sequence is triangle, circle, X, square. Now there's different ways you could do this. Do it whatever way is most comfortable for you. I like doing it this way because it's like what I found myself in, was what I'm comfortable doing. But you can do it any way you want, as long as it's not like too slow. I messed it up there. That's kind of funny. I forgot that happened. Yeah, so I messed it up there, but I just like to go this way because I just think it's like the easiest way to do it. And then after this, we have a laser reflector room. Now this laser reflector room is... There's another quicker way to do the puzzle. It's not much of a puzzle, it's just moving the laser. You're going to move 2 reflectors around instead of 5 of them, so it saves time. But first we got to kill a couple enemies up here. Now, there's always 3 spiders in here. They take 1 shot each. They're like the small version of the spider, so they die instantly. As soon as you press this button, you can start skipping the cutscene. It's like one of those instant ones. And here you could do a cute skip. You can jump on this railing and jump across, but I think it's honestly not worth doing. I do it sometimes if I'm just like feeling very ambitious, but it honestly doesn't really save any time. The reason is, even if you jump across this platform without raising the bridge, the game will think that you're in combat because, you know, those 2 guys, they notice you when you run past them. By the way, you need this drone upgrade module. Make sure you get that drone upgrade module. Very important. And so when you get to this button, it'll say you're in combat, and it usually takes like 6 seconds or 7 seconds. So as long as you kill those enemies within 6 or 7 seconds, it's the same amount of time as just not doing the skip. Anyway, here we can just ignore all those enemies though. You can just drop past them. It will de-aggro very fast. You can use this reflector very quickly. And for this one, you want to turn it 90 degrees and then just a tiny bit more. Not much more, just a tiny bit more. I moved it a little bit too much there. So you can see it's just past 90 degrees. Like maybe move it like 100 degrees or something. And then for this one, you're going to move it 180 degrees plus a little bit extra. A little bit more than we moved the last one. So I would say roughly like maybe 200 degrees. Something like that. Anyway, you get a feel for it pretty quick. And so there we go. That's the quicker way to do this quick puzzle. Otherwise, you're going all around the room. It's very slow. Shout out to my girlfriend who just did this casually. She didn't do it that exact same way, but she pretty much did it like that. Just she had the first laser pointing a little bit to the more to the left. And so it's through her that I learned that you could even like do it a different way. And then we're gonna head down. So this is a nice little break period. I'll get a sip of water here. By the way, if you wanted to hear like the live commentary, because I'm talking over a VOD, obviously I'm not doing this live. We did this live on stream last week, and if you wanted to hear my live commentary while it was happening, you can just go back and watch SR-17. I have everything timestamped. Every single one of my VODs is timestamped. Literally, all of them have timestamps. So if you want to go back and if you missed the live stream and you want to watch like a specific section, I have most things timestamped to like things that I think are important or relevant that you might want to see if you missed it. But we're doing the kind of tutorial commentary. I'm going to talk through everything that I think might help a new player who's getting into the speedrun, might help them. And again, I try to be very accessible. So if you are in the Discord server, every single one of my video descriptions has a Discord server link. You can join. It's free. It's a safe for work, free to join Discord server. You can always DM me. And I also have a speedrun strats text channel in that server with different notes that I've made. Like we talk about the speedrun a little bit sometimes there. And I dump a bunch of info in there as well. Alright, now these guys, I like to kill the ones back here first, and then turn around, because if you kill the ones in this little doorway first, they don't walk into the doorway right away, so it's a little bit slow. But they are consistent. All the spawns are extremely consistent. So after you've done it enough times, you kind of just know where this guys spawn. And you want to kill them as fast as you can, because the next wave will not spawn until you finish the previous wave. I think besides the body bags, I believe, like, I think you could leave the body bags alive and these guys would spawn in. But you gotta kill all the big dudes first. And then just try to kill the body bags as quickly as you can, because, you know, we gotta let the fires dissipate before we can access the button. So there we go, that's that section. That was pretty quick. And then, you know, just grab all the ammo. There's a bunch of ammo in the room. So before the first wave spawns, I always like to run around, grab all the ammo. And at this point, we've picked up already like a bunch of explosive ammo. I think we've gotten like 4 or 5 of them. That saves some money. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it does help. Here we gotta shoot a couple of barrels here. Careful with this hive. These wall enemies, they're called hives. And they have one attack that's very dangerous where they spit out these red orbs. They look like huge jawbreakers. And they deal damage on contact and they explode. So they're very dangerous. It's like the most dangerous thing that that enemy can do throughout the entire game, because we're gonna fight some machine hives later as well. There's another drone upgrade module. We now have enough drone upgrades to get the explosive shells, so we're good for the rest of the game. And I'm gonna enter the code here. And then we got another quick little vent section. And then we got Maelstrom. Now these vents here in games, they always look so evil. I don't know what it is like with the lighting. They look so freaking evil, dude. I don't know what it is with these industrial vents, but these huge fans, yeah, man, they're creepy. So you gotta shoot three barrels there, and we can run through, zigzagging to grab some ammo for free. Some shotgun ammo, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, you get enough shotgun ammo. You only need 4 shots, but it's nice to have like 5 as a backup in case you mess up a little bit. For Maelstrom, we're going to kill him with 4 shotgun shells. And with the Maelstrom fight, I pretty much do it the same way every time. I shoot all the weak points with the slug, which is your basic machine gun, and then I switch to the shotgun. And you basically have enough time to do 4.5 shots. So you can't do 5 shots of shotgun into the weak point, but you have enough to, like, basically you don't have to rush to shoot the first shot. You have a tiny bit of time, so you can set up a little bit. And you want to be like as close as possible, because that will deal more, your shotgun will deal more damage. So I'm going to get really close here and then shoot him right in the weak point, and it should take exactly 4 shots. So I messed up a tiny bit, but it's alright. I used 1 extra shotgun, and it wasn't like a critical hit, but his health was so low that I just got that 1 shot in, and it, you know, I didn't mess it up too bad. But ideally, he would die in exactly 4 shots. And there I leave the shotgun equipped, because we're going to be using the shotgun once we get to Matrix 11. So we're just grabbing all of our loot and moving on. So now we've finished Maelstrom. So congratulations, you are a third of the way through. By the way, if you have PS Plus, this is worth noting. If you have PS Plus, something you can do is you can use, for this game in particular, I turn auto upload for the save files. I turn that off. And I turn that off because I don't want to, very frequently I revert back to a previous save file for this game in particular, because I like to set up speedrun saves. So I had one stream, I forget which one it was, but I had one stream where I just set up speedrun save. I call them study saves. And all we did was we played through up to a certain point, stopped, and then started a brand new game, because if you didn't know, in this game you can have 5 total save slots. You can't do manual saves, but if you start a brand new game, it'll create a new save file for you. And you can have up to 5. So if you have 5 slots and you start a new game, you have to overwrite 1. But anyway, we did 3 playthroughs pretty much, and I did a playthrough up to the beginning of Xion, and then a playthrough up to the beginning of Abyss. So pretty much I have a save file before Altess, which is what we just did. I have a save file before Abyss, which is the next Levoire section, and then I have a save file before Spire. Because if I wanted to practice Matrix, I can just quickly run through Altess and then practice Matrix. And if I want to practice Eidos 7, I can just start a new game. If I want to practice Spire, I can jump into Spire. And so if you have PS Plus, you can set up those save files and then upload your save. Then go through, practice them, whatever, because the thing is the game autosaves. It autosaves automatically as soon as like a bunch of progression things. So like when you get to like a new area, it autosaves. Anytime you touch a camp, it autosaves. Anytime you teleport, you can see right there in the bottom left, it's autosaving. So having that is very useful. So pretty much what I'll do is like I'll practice a section, I practice something real quick, whatever, and then I quit out to the PlayStation home screen. And then from the PS5 home screen, you can press start and then download your previous save from the cloud. I really wish PlayStation would just let us save our local save files onto, you know, a flash drive or something. It's so weird that it's still locked behind PS Plus. But whatever, that's the way it is. So unfortunately can't do anything about it. You can, in case you were very curious, you can download your save files and store them locally, but it's not that convenient. It's like you have to back up like your whole console kind of. So it stores like all of your save files and like some other information or whatever. So it's not as quick as just, you know what I mean? It's not as easy as like if you could just put, I just want my Stellar Blade save file on my flash drive, that's it. But anyway, that is a very useful way as well to practice our skips. We haven't got to any big skips yet. The first skips happen in Matrix, so when we get there, we will talk about them. And if you've seen any of my my update videos, I have a few videos, like anytime there was an update, like for 1.004, 05, 06, I did an update video, and I always go through the speedrun skips and I talk about them, like if they still work, because that's the first thing I'm concerned about anytime there's an update. Oh, by the way, this speedrun is done on patch 1.006, in case you were curious. We did it a few days ago on August 17th, live, and I'm just doing the commentary now to upload this separately. And then again, in case you missed it, I am going to put in the pinned comment, I'll put the no commentary version with no ads, in case you want to watch it, like, you know, if you like having gameplay to fall asleep to, or if you just want to watch the run without my commentary, I'll have it there. But you will always see my face, so it might look a little bit weird because you're going to see me talking, but nothing's coming out of my mouth. Because since I did do it live, my webcam is always going to be there. At some point, I would like to get a speedrun, actually. I would like to do like an ASMR type playthrough, you know? No commentary, no controller layout, just a quick playthrough of the game, just a clean playthrough. I don't know if I'll actually do that, we'll see. Alright, so now that we are through, by the way, as you can see there, I was able to use Rush. It's only the first time you come out of the Presence Chamber that you cannot use Rush, it's really weird. But otherwise, you can use Rush as soon as your HUD pops up. But something else that is consistent is that you can, again, as soon as this dialogue is over, your sprint status is maintained, which means you can jump right back into sprinting. And we're just going to turn around and use the phone. Matrix 11 is a really short section, but there's still kind of like a lot of stuff that happens during it, so there's going to be a lot to talk about once we get there. First, we just grab the phone, and we're going to do our upgrades. Now, before Matrix, so after we kill Maelstrom 1, here I will be upgrading Chain Charge as well as Beta Recharge 2. Beta Recharge 2 will give us more beta energy from attacks. So anytime we land an attack, we get more beta energy, which is nice because we're doing a lot of beta chains. And then the Chain Charge is a follow-up attack to any stealth kill. So whether you do an assault or an ambush, assault is the aerial stealth kill, ambush is the backstab. Anytime you do one of those, you get the opportunity to follow up with the Chain Charge, which is basically like a free powered up rush. It acts like a rush because, you know, it like locks onto an enemy and dashes at them. But it does extra damage, so it's really nice. For some enemies, it'll one-shot them. But yeah, of course, anytime you have Lily here, go ahead and use your weapon cores. So just touch the repair console, and then also upgrade your Exospine, your Eagle Eye. Now, I like to upgrade the Eagle Eye first because just in case you don't have enough materials to do both, here I did. But just in case, you know, we're prioritizing Eagle Eye because we're not going to use the chain type Exospine until we get back to Spire. So later, once we have another Exospine slot open, then we'll be using the chain type. But there, as you can see, I only had to buy 2 explosive shells, so I saved some money there. And make sure that you upgrade your Exospine first because it expands how much ammo you can carry. So you want to do that first and then buy your ammo. Otherwise, you'll be a little bit short on ammo. And then I got the 2 skills I mentioned, and now we're good to go. I feel pretty comfortable having 2 WB pumps. It's a good amount. You could afford 3 probably, if you've been following along. But I like to just have 2, like, you know, have 1, because you're always going to want 1, and then just have a backup. And then if you buy too many too early on, you're kind of like, you're not really betting on yourself. You want to bet on yourself and think that you're not going to need all of them. So I just like buying 2, also saves a little bit of money. Now here we are at Matrix 11. Now this is a really fun section. I'm going to start off with a rush. You gotta be careful because you can get caught up on these rocks, so you gotta aim it a certain way. And using your rush first will allow you to get another rush into the elevator, so it's a tiny optimization. These are the type of things that don't matter too much if you're just starting out, but the more you speedrun, the more you'll be like, you're going to look for stuff like that. Now, when I started speedrunning this, I got kind of lost here a little bit, because this beginning part of Matrix is kind of like a maze, but pretty much you just go through this train, and then follow the blue thing, and then go through the train, and that'll take you to the next one. This is pretty much, that's it. You made it through. That's the whole entire labyrinth, because now we just go in here and go right, and we're through. That is it. We're done with trains. Once you've passed this little box on the left, that's when you know you can rush, and it'll take you into the cutscene. But again, we're going to skip most of the enemies here. A lot of them we're going to skip, or we're just going to shoot them in the face with a shotgun. So we can just ignore that guy, and we can ignore this guy on the left. We're going to ignore everything. All these skullings here on the floor, going to ignore them. The hive we do have to kill, because it's blocking our progression. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit the barrel, shoot him twice, and shoot the barrel at the same time. And that's it. Now there's an enemy here that was going to block the path, but if you're hugging left and just make a sharp left, you will get through every time. If you don't make it through, step back a little bit. You want to kite the enemy away a little bit and then run past them. Now here, you have enough time to actually go up and grab that drone upgrade module. I didn't grab it, but if you wanted to, like if you really wanted to use missiles, like the rockets, you could grab that drone upgrade module and you'd have enough to upgrade rockets. So then you can use the missile launcher. If you really like using the missile launcher, you can just go ahead and grab it. It doesn't really cost you much time to use. But using the missile launcher itself is a little bit slow. It's not as fast as the other ammo types. But if you like using it, just use it. If it's going to encourage you to finish the speedrun, I say go for it. Now, luckily, I got the chain charge on one of those enemies there. But that doesn't always happen. Those guys, those mites, they're called mites, those enemies. And they're kind of tricky-dicky. They just run around a lot. So your chain charge could very well miss. But from here, as long as you have a sprint going, you can do a double jump and get a free assault kill on this middle guy. And then the dude on the left will self-destruct every time. Then I chain charge into that enemy. And then everything else we're going to clean up with the shotgun. Just obliterate everything with the shotgun. There's 3 skullings we got to kill. 1, 2... Oh, I missed a shot. That kind of sucks because it slowed me down. And then there's a third one who, if I wasn't so slow, as you can see, this guy would not have grabbed the body. Typically, he wouldn't have gotten to the corpse. So I had to waste some extra ammo there, which is a little bit unfortunate. But now we have our next fusion cell. After we use this fusion cell, we're coming up on the first kind of like... oh, sorry, no, this is not the first skip. We gotta fight Stalker first, right. Something I didn't mention earlier is I pressed the button for this lift before we open the door. It's a little bit more time efficient that way because the lift, it takes some time to come down. So instead of just, you know, pressing the button and then waiting for it to come down, press the button and then go open the door, do your thing, come back, and then it'll be waiting for you. Here, okay, here we have a little bit of platforming though. There's a tiny bit of platforming. There is some amount of platforming in this game. But it's not so bad. I think Eve actually controls very intuitively. Once you spend enough time playing and you have a good feel for like the weight of your character as you control it, doing jumps feels very consistent in my opinion. So here we're going to be doing like we're going to do a delayed double jump and air dash to reach that rope over there. So here I'm just doing double jumps. If you just keep jumping in a straight line, you know, you're not going to fall off. You'll be fine. And then once you get to the very end of this, just aim in this direction, do a very delayed double jump, and you can just grab the ledge there. And then you want to be in a sprint. For this next jump, you got to be sprinting to make it clean. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. In a sprint, you can do a double jump and land there, no problem. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, because the thing is, if you fall, you spawn back at the bottom, which wastes a lot of time. If you don't want to do that, I would say first practice it, but then if you don't like doing it anyway, just run around. It doesn't waste that much time, I guess. It wastes a lot of time if you fall. And now we've got like a little escape sequence here. For this escape sequence, I failed it before. If you're not sprinting, you can be too slow and die. So make sure you don't let that happen. Just always start. As soon as you gain control of Eve, you can press sprint. And the sequence is always square XX here. Another thing I should mention is that I play on a DualSense Edge controller. You could do this on a regular controller too, but it's going to be kind of... The thing is that you sprint with clicking in left stick, which kind of sucks. So if you have anything with back buttons, I would recommend using it just for sprint. Personally, I have my left back button as circle for dodge, and then I have my right back button as sprint, because we're sprinting the whole game, so it just feels bad clicking in my left stick, you know? Not because of drift, but because I have this for some reason, dual senses, all of them have failed me. The left analog stick, just from pressing games where you sprint, like I played this and RE4, it causes like an air bubble to form under my left analog stick. I don't know if you guys have experienced that. If you have, let me know. So you can just double jump and dash into the rope. And here we have one of the first ammo crates. Now this ammo crate is really nice because we just spent a bunch of shotgun ammo. And you know, if we can save money, we will. So there just got a nice bunch of shotgun shells. And now we can skip pretty much all the enemies here. This whole section we can just run through. It's really nice. The only trick here is to make sure that you, when we get to this next train coming up, not this one, but this one right here in front of us, make sure you drop down, because otherwise we'll be locked into a very slow walking section where Adam tells you to look outside and blah blah blah. And if you just drop down, you won't have to force walk. So you can just skip that whole walking sequence. And now, for this drop here, you want to land on a banister. There's a banister down here. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, practice it, but then you should learn it, because it does save some time. That banister will break your fall. If you miss it, you will die. So, you know, if you're nervous, just hit the ladder, but it's a quick one to learn, and you can look down as you're landing too, so you know, make sure you hit it. What you want to be careful with is not pressing jump to try to get a safe landing, because it's very risky. If you press jump there and you miss the banister, you will die, and I've done it before. Now here, I don't have overdrive yet, so my square attack is kind of slow, so I'm only doing 2 attacks before I do a shot. By the way, the QTEs, I just love QTEs in video games, so I just leave them on. But it does waste a little bit of time, so if you're just pressing for like the best time possible, you can turn off the QTEs, and I think it's under accessibility, and you can just turn that off. But you know, I'm just trying to get a sub 3 run. We're doing marathon strats. We're just having a good time here, and so that's why I like to leave QTEs on. But otherwise, this is the invincible attack. So this combo you just gotta power through. You cannot interrupt it with a beta chain or anything. We're gonna use all of the ammo here. Don't worry about, you know, spending money. Just use all the ammo you want. So again, I'm just doing 2 square inputs, light, and then I just do an aim cancel and shoot. And that's pretty much Stalker in a nutshell. Once I get overdrive, I'll do 3 square inputs and then shooting, but it's basically the same thing. And the ammo is so powerful because both the shotgun plus the explosive shells completely interrupt anything he's doing besides the invincible attacks. And then I like to grab the burst energy first, and then I pick up the loot. So we got our burst skill, which is going to be very nice. I'm going to be researching overdrive right away. You can do a tiny platforming skip here. If you just, you know, get on top of this rubble and then do a double jump, you can reach up here, no problem. And then this code is always N72R5. So we just enter the code there. And now we have another forced camp. Notice how I have 2 tumblers, but after this forced camp, it's going to replenish my tumbler stock, and then it's going to fill up my health. So I have 3 tumblers again without having to rest. It's really nice that the game does that, because otherwise we'd have to sit down, and there's forced dialogue here, so it would waste a bunch of time. Here, I will just get all my ammos again, shotgun, explosive ammo, everything. And I'll also be getting my overdrive started. So I'm going to get overdrive along with 1 damage upgrade, and that's it. That's all we have money for. Oh, I also get repulse here. I get repulse and focus or reflex boost. We're going to prioritize damage. I'm going to get repulse, which it's going to force you to train. I think that this is new from one of the recent patches. I remember not having to research or not having to train this, but we got to train it, so we have to quit out with start after we enter the training menu. And then I'm going to get reflex boost here. This will make perfect dodging easier. I like getting this before Juggernaut, because Juggernaut has a bunch of perfect dodge attacks, and so like he has a lot of unblockables. So I like getting it before him just as insurance to make it a little bit easier. And now we're coming up on our first huge skip. Now here, there's an enemy right below us, right where we're standing right here. We want to jump in a triangle shape to get to right below us. So I'm going to do 1 jump and then another one in that direction to get the assault kill. And then we need this body, the guy that's sitting up. you need that body. The dude that's sitting up here on his knees. Get the coat off of him, and then head towards this room. Now here, there's different ways to approach this. I like killing this guy first, and then killing the sculling. And then I come over here and use the triangle beta skill to just take out these guys. That guy usually survives it. The one in the middle, it seems to be like at a different level, so he usually survives. So I just take that guy out separately. And then just shoot everyone down. So if you just rely on your shotgun, you're not going to have a problem with that room. But that room can be pretty scary. If everything takes over a body, and then you got 5 guys there, it's a mess. It's a mess. You don't want to deal with that. So take them out early, kill the scullings while they're still in sculling form, and you'll be good. Now for the next skip, if you need help with this, just message me on Discord. I also have in the speedrun strats text channel on my Discord, I talk about this, and you basically just want to stand on that bushing area and then jump towards the center of the tubing, do a double jump and do an air dash. And if you watch it a few times, you'll kind of figure out, and just practice it a bit, you'll figure out where the invisible platform is. But there's a tiny bit of geometry there that you can jump on, and then once you get to that platform, once you get to that invisible part on the tubing, you're pretty much home free. You just do a double jump over to the railing. And what's nice is that if you fail it, there's a tiny bit of pipes on the right that you can land on, and it's safe to, you can quickly retry it. You'd have to get a little bit unlucky to fall all the way down and have to take the ladder back up. This room is kind of tough. Now, there's a sculling back here behind those boxes that you want to kill ASAP, because if it takes over the corpse, it kind of messes up everything. And then you want to take out the hive right away before it starts spawning more scullings. Now, there's one sculling that spawned, and honestly, right here, I should have used my beta skill. I've used it a little bit late. I don't think any of them took over a corpse, did they? Okay, no, we're good. If you let one of those scullings get away, they'll take over a corpse. It's gonna waste so much time. So maximize your shotgun, use your crowd control from the triangle beta skill, and try to take care of everything as fast as possible there. Prioritizing killing the first sculling and then the wall, the hive. Because the longer the hive stays alive, the more scullings that could spawn, and you need to kill all of them in order to open the door. So now we're going to drop here. Here you can equip your explosive shell if you want, but I started using my shotgun recently because in recent attempts, the thing is, after we do this puzzle, a sculling is going to walk into the room. Now, it could either just barely get through the doorway and then jump onto the corpse, or if it's nice, it'll get a little bit deeper into the room and give you a chance to easily kill it with the shotgun. And that's what's been happening recently. So in the past, I was actually a little bit slow there. In the past, I would use the explosive shell instead. Honestly, I'd probably recommend that. Because it just takes one. So as long as you shoot around the floor, it doesn't even have to be like a direct hit. The sculling will die. So if you want to, you could set up with the explosive shell, or just use, the shotgun. So here, if you need to heal, this is a great time to just use the biotic field while you're waiting to exit combat. If you were quick enough, you could set up and heal with the biotic field while you wait to put in the fusion cell. And since we did that skip, we saved ourselves a fusion cell, which means we have an extra one right here, so we can use it right away. Now, if you didn't do this, you'd pretty much have to go through a whole unskippable cutscene in the memorial area on the left, and it just wastes time. So that's a really nice skip. It saves a ton of time. Here, I'm going to be using a chain charge, and then I'm going to kill this guy with a stealth kill, and then chain charge into the hive. It does a nice little chunk of damage. It takes out like, 20% of its health, 25% or something. I'm also taking the opportunity to charge up a little bit of burst energy. And then clean up any scullings with the shotgun, whatever you want to do. You could also charge burst energy on them as well. Now, for this one, there's no door blocking, so if it starts spawning scullings, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to take this opportunity to get a little bit more burst energy, so I can have kind of full burst energy on the next boss. But yeah, the sculling that's alive, just ignore it. It doesn't matter, we can run right past. And then we have an elevator. So the elevator is kind of interesting because we're going to take advantage of the smart mines. Now, playing through casual, you might have forgotten that the smart mines exist. I think the smart mines are pretty cool because, it just looks cool. I mean, it's just fun. You just drop a mine and try to, kite a boss into it and watch it explode. It's fun. But its biggest application in the speedrun here is killing one particular sculling. Now, this sculling is scripted to go for this corpse. So I'm going to drop 2 smart mines there, and then as soon as these barrels light up, you can shoot them. You can see how they light up there. You can take them out, and then I like to empty my slug ammo first into the hive, and then I switch to my explosive to finish it off. you know, I'm prioritizing. I'm gonna use the cheaper ammo first, of course, and then finish it off with the expensive ammo. But you can't kill it completely, so then I just do like a quick combo, get some burst energy, and finish it off that way. And over there you can see the hive, or our mines blew up the sculling, so now we're good to go. As soon as you finish, once you reactivate the lift, you can actually use Onslaught 1, which is triangle, 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 to get over this barrier here. Shout out to the chat member. Someone in chat had mentioned it. And it's really easy. I did it my first try. It's no problem. As long as you're just right up against the wall, you just get up there and then you can run and do a double jump to land over here. I like to do a safe landing just to be careful, not take fall damage. But now we can quickly buy our ammo. So I'm just going to restock on shotgun ammo as well as explosive ammo. And this will speed up the Juggernaut fight by a lot. And since we're here... Oh, I didn't get the weapon upgrade. Actually, no, I didn't have a weapon upgrade. We already used the weapon upgrade right after Stalker. And again, always, anytime you jump into a boss, make sure you have your shotgun first, so you can use your cheaper ammo just in case. Like, if in case you died, you don't want to have wasted your explosive ammo first and then respawn and have to rebuy the explosive ammo. So always use the shotgun ammo first because it's cheaper. Now, Juggernaut has two main invincible attacks. He'll have an overhead blink attack. If you see the overhead coming, you cannot interrupt it. You just it's this one right here. You just gotta let it. You gotta do the blink. And then the other invincible attack he does is one where he jumps in the air, but that only happens during phase 2. So for the most part, though, we kind of just cheese Juggernaut. We're gonna be spamming the. We're gonna be using overdrive to get nice fast attacks, and then that's the jump attack I was talking about. By the way, if you didn't know, anytime you get a perfect dodge, if you tap a triangle, just tap it, you will get a free. And there's a nice use of a grenade, by the way. If you get an opportunity for a grenade, if you're near a wall, just use it because the knockback from the grenade is going to get, you know, mitigated by the fact that the enemy is near a wall. So if you have a boss in a corner, it's nice to just use the grenade. That was a pretty good Juggernaut fight. But the main strategy, since we have overdrive now, is I'm gonna go into overdrive, do 3 light attacks, and then aim cancel, fire, either you know, shoot him with the shotgun or with the explosive rounds, whatever, and just keep that going. That's pretty much the whole thing. We're going to be doing that like the entire run. And that's something that you can practice. You can get pretty proficient at it, you know, pretty quickly by just messing around in boss challenge or just in your casual playthroughs. But keep in mind that here I don't have any speed upgrades. So if you were used to playing, let's say when you do boss challenge for fun, let's say that you use some speed upgrades. It's not going to feel the same. And so keep that in mind. If you're going to be speedrunning this, practice with no speed upgrades, unless you want to route in a speed upgrade. Practice with no speed upgrades and just, you know, overdrive as your main speed upgrade. Here, I'm sticking to above water. Again, swimming above water is a lot faster than swimming underwater, but when you get close enough to these guys here on the right, you want to get underwater because if they notice you, it's going to mess you up. If the guys notice you, when you're trying to access the key code, you're not going to be able to because you're in combat. And grabbing the key code itself is fine. But if you're too close to the surface water, if you're too close to the surface level here, they will notice you. And I've lost like a minute here before just because I was in combat and I couldn't actually enter the code. So it's better to play it safe there and just stay closer to the, you know, closer to underwater than above water. And that is I believe that's the last code now for Matrix, yeah. You know, Juggernaut is a really cool fight, but I feel like it got overshadowed so fast because, as you can see, the distance between Juggernaut and Taki is really, really short, and so poor Juggernaut didn't really get much time to shine, you know? For this escape sequence, I like to use a rush here to get across really fast. If the bridge falls, you do have to jump, so if you use rush right away, you can make it though. And then something I've learned recently in speedrunning is that if you don't press jump at the end of this sequence, you actually just fall off. I didn't realize that. For some reason, I thought that the jump was automatic, but it's not automatic. You do have to press X there to jump. Now, coming up here are a couple of scary enemies. Here, these dudes that just explode on contact, these guys right here, they're kind of scary, and so luckily I got the perfect dodge there. I've died there before and wasted a WB pump. But if you didn't get let's say that you use the WB pump on Juggernaut, you gotta be very careful there because if you die, you'll only respawn. You would respawn right after the whole buzzsaw sequence, so you wouldn't lose that much time. But you'd rather not die. You don't want to waste the pump there. You don't want to waste more time respawning. Okay, here's another forced camp. Again, Here, it's going to replenish your tumblers as well as your health completely. And if you use any items, it's going to refill your stock on items. As you can see, I'm back to 2 grenades because I used one during Juggernaut, but now we're back to full. Restock on ammo as always, and that's it. I'm also going to continue upgrading the overdrive ability. So I'm going to get more damage and then get some speed. And now, here's where I like to get, oh yeah, one more weapon core as well. So coming up here is where I like to get my health upgrade. Now, I like to get this health upgrade because it's directly in your path. It's just, it doesn't waste any time at all. So I like getting this one because we only really need it for Spire. And so it's just a convenient spot to, you know, just get our health upgrade. This is the only health upgrade that I get. We've picked up 3 of them now and we have 1 full health upgrade. It's just insurance, just marathon strats really. In a marathon, I would just pick it up because it doesn't waste that much time. But if you're going for your best time possible, then yeah, you wouldn't get health upgrades. But to be honest, if you're... Actually, I would recommend getting them if you're just starting out and like as you're still learning the route, just get them. It'll make your life easier. And then as you know, improve, you can skip the health upgrades. Alright, so Taki is another Matrix boss here that is very chill because she is so confident, she doesn't really do much to start. So the first phase is really short, and we're just going to spend a few shotgun shells and move on to phase 2. Phase 2, during this transition, you could keep attacking to gain beta energy, but I'm also going to dodge the wing here. You can dodge there to get a little bit of burst back. And then ideally, at the beginning of phase 2, she would do a repulse. You want the repulse right away. Right there. That's ideal, because now you can switch to the explosives, and the explosives are going to melt her health bar. I mean, if you're shooting the weak point, it's crazy. It does so much damage. And that's phase 2. Phase 3, if you're lucky, you'll get another repulse. I don't remember what happened during this fight. But again, Taki is pretty chill in the sense that she doesn't rush you like Providence does, for example. So you have time to kind of set up, do your overdrive, and just start using your gun. I missed a couple of shots there. But overall, it was still a pretty fast fight. Anytime that you finish a boss fight without wasting a WB pump, you're in a good position because you can use that money that you saved to buy more ammo and feel more comfortable. And if you're using grenades, you can spend that money on grenades as well. I've been getting pretty good drops, so I have a bunch of grenades already. So I won't really be buying grenades. I think towards the end of the game, I do buy grenades because it's faster than waiting at the camp. So, by the way, this is your best opportunity to take a break and run to use the bathroom, run to grab some food, run to refill your water bottle, whatever you got to do. In fact, I'll be getting some water right here. This cutscene is like, it's like a few minutes long. It's very long. It's at least 2 minutes long, and you have time to really do whatever you want. Whatever you got to do, you know, go feed your cat. I wouldn't change their litter box. I don't think you have enough time for that, but you could give them some food. Whatever you have to do, man. Anyway, I hope that you're enjoying the commentary. I guess this is a good time to plug my membership. I have a channel membership. If you like watching my streams, I do stream 3 days a week here on YouTube. Currently, well, I'm not even gonna say what the schedule is because it could change. So I'm gonna say the schedule is always in the description. Currently, we're doing 3 days a week though. And if you like hanging out in the chat, I commissioned some really beautiful art from an artist on Instagram called Riri. Her handle is @riri.meow_. She does awesome chibi art, and I got a bunch of cool chibi emojis for for channel members to use. And it's $2 a month if you'd like to support. I also have a $5 tier, but I don't expect anyone to do that. That's just like if someone really wants to support extra. I have a $5 tier. There's a couple extra benefits, but it's mainly just I want everyone to be able to use the emojis. So that's why I made it very cheap. It's just $2 a month. In fact, it's less than a McChicken. Can you believe McDonald's is so expensive now, man? What happened to McDonald's? McChicken is like it's like $2.50 now or something crazy. But anyway, for less the price of a McChicken per month, you can get wonderful custom emojis. And the more members I have, the more art I can commission. So I put everything I earn from you guys back into making the stream better. But I do appreciate your support. Thank you to my wonderful channel members. We have 20 right now. And, you know, I would love to get more and grow the community. Because the next thing I want to do is another giveaway. We did a giveaway when I was really just starting out. I did a Japanese copy giveaway, but I want to do more giveaways. I don't know what for, but maybe we'll do another Japanese copy or something, because it's always cool to have a Japanese copy. You know, the Japanese dub is only on the disc version. You can't, or you could also have a Japanese account and download it that way. But if you have like an American account only, or whatever European account, and you want to play the Japanese dub, you got to get a disc copy. What's nice about PS5 is that it's region free, so you can just go ahead and pop that in and it just works. And if you were wondering, I'm playing on a digital version here, but my Japanese, if I insert the Japanese physical copy, they use the same save. So if you're really close to your platinum or whatever, or you like having, you have your save file that you've spent like 100 hours on or whatever, you can keep using that on your Japanese disc. But yeah, we're back to Xion. Anyway, back to the game. We're here in Xion again. What's really nice is that the game throws you straight into the presence chamber, so you don't have to waste any extra time running around. And we're on a pretty good pace here. We're coming up on Abyss, so I'll get to show you guys what my my strategy for Shael is, because she's a bit tougher than Quiel. She has more health and stuff. She has 2 strings. Okay, and again, as soon as you come out of the presence chamber, you can start sprinting, and then as soon as you see your HUD pop up, that's when you can do a rush. So the moment it pops up, you're gonna see me do a rush there. And again, if you're sprinting going into this dialogue here, it maintains your sprint status, and you can continue sprinting coming out of it. So the reason I mentioned that, it's really good to know that, because if you press sprint and you're already sprinting, it goes back to regular jogging, and there's a little bit of a delay before you can sprint again. So you don't really want to do that ever. It just, because it wastes time, you're stuck there waiting for your sprint to come back. The fastest thing, if that happens to you, the fastest thing you can do is to just tap circle to do a quick dash, and then you can sprint coming out of the dash. Here we unlock Talkie Mode. We don't really use Talkie Mode at all this entire run, besides for a skip. Talkie Mode doesn't deal that much damage, and we learned this from our Talkie Mode challenge run, where we only dealt damage with Talkie Mode for the entire playthrough. We did a full playthrough like that. And yeah, the boss fights took a long time. So here though, we're at Lily, so of course we gotta use our weapon core. And then we also need ammo, but that's all we need. We want to fill up on all of our ammos, all of them this time, because we're going to be using the explosive ammo in Abyss as well. Oh yeah, there's another legacy here too. So some of the Raven legacies you can mash the dialogue. This one you cannot. So this is another good period. So let's say that during the Taki cutscene, maybe maybe you went and used the bathroom, you've refilled your water bottle, and then you grabbed some food. Here is your opportunity to actually eat your sandwich. So you really got to take advantage of these, because the next time you get a break is it's in 45 minutes or something, and it's during the Everglow ascent. So, and it's not as long, so it's really only a quick. You can maybe use the bathroom. I usually get able to go run and use the bathroom during that break. But yeah, it is a medium length speedrun. It's not that long, but it's not a quick hour-long speedrun, you know what I mean? It's not as long as doing a Final Fantasy game, but it's still a time commitment. And, I understand that if it's too much to do in one sitting. Something else you could do, by the way, someone had popped into chat and they mentioned that they were doing speedruns, but only from Spire to the end of the game. So if you wanted to, especially if you set up, like I mentioned earlier, if you set up, if you did some study saves, and you have saves for, to practice Matrix and to practice Spire. Okay, my cat wants out. You could do speedruns of just the individual sections, and then only do a full speedrun when you have the time, when you have maybe on a day off. But it's pretty quick otherwise. Especially Matrix is really fast. You could reasonably do from Eidos to here pretty quickly, and then leave Spire for a separate practice run or something. You know what I mean? So that's another good way to get into it. I have never done it that way, but if you're pressed for time, maybe you don't have that much time. Maybe you get off work really late. I get off work kind of late. I only get home around 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock sometimes, and so I don't really have the energy to speedrun. So I only really play this game, and I only really speedrun when I'm streaming on my stream days. So then of course I'm fully dedicated to just playing for several hours at that point. So I always do full speedruns. But if you want to just knock out a quick partial speedrun after work maybe, I think it's pretty quick to just do the beginning of the game until the end of Matrix. That's a fun speedrun right there. And then if you have PS Plus and you have saves set up, you could do separately, you could do Abyss to the end of the game. Because I would kind of cut it in half for you. But anyway, I skipped the cutscene kind of late there. I must have been, I think I was drinking water or something. I got distracted with chat, possibly. Shout out to everyone in chat that was with me. This was really fun to get this PB because I'd been trying really hard for like a whole week, just doing runs nonstop, and I got some very close ones. Like I got a 3-hour 1-minute run. I got a 3-hour 4-minute run. We were really close. I had one that was on pace and I choked at Raven. So we got very close multiple times, and on this particular day, I only had time to do one speedrun because I had a baseball game I wanted to watch. And I didn't want to miss it, so I was just, I knew I had only time for one run. By the way, there I messed up. I accidentally did a rush. I locked onto that lurker. Typically, if the lurker is underground, it's not going to lock onto them, but that guy had already gone above ground. I wasn't paying attention enough. And so I rushed into them, so that was my fault. That was completely my fault. You don't got to make that mistake. Okay, what else? So we have Shael here. Now for Shael, she has about a bit more health. We have the same setup as earlier. We have the shield destruction gear 1-star as well as double edge gear, and I'm going to be using just a shotgun here. So I like to start the fight with one shotgun shell to her face. As soon as the fight starts, shoot her one time and then parry the entire string. Now it's a 5-hit string. As a backup, if you miss like one of the parries, I might miss one, I don't remember. 1, 2, 3, and dang, okay. Actually, I didn't miss it, but if you did, you could quickly use a sonic grenade. Because I promise you have plenty of sonic grenades at this point. You only really need a few in the entire run. You could use a sonic grenade right here, and then make her groggy that way. Groggy state is what it's called when an enemy, when you knock down their balance to 0. And so then once she's groggy, I shoot her 4 times, and then I do the retribution. Depending on the retribution animation, you might do a rush to get closer, or you'll just keep shooting her and then just basically empty your shotgun. Sometimes I have to parry like the first hit of the secondary string that she does, but the gaps between her attacks for her secondary string are so big, you can do parry 1 and then shoot her, and that usually will end the fight. Or you could parry 1 more and then shoot her, and that should end it if you didn't get it earlier. But yeah, it's important to have the shield destruction gear and the double edge gear. As you can see, I did equip the sonic grenades just in case as a backup. In case I miss one of the parries. Because she will restore her balance immediately if you don't get it right away. Okay, another thing is that when Eve is platforming, you can jump up diagonally 1 over, and so you try to use that to your advantage whenever you can. Instead of jumping straight up and then left, you can just jump from this platform up to the up left to the next one. And then this area is just an auto scroller pretty much. You're just following along, stay right behind the buzzsaws, and here we have 3 targets to shoot. I usually shoot the bottom left one last, because there's a little bit of space open, so even if the buzzsaw is in the way, you are still able to shoot that bottom left one. Here, you gotta kill all these spiders. You gotta kill everything here, so kill the mutated defiler, kill the body bags, and then we have one more enemy that is hiding behind a box here on the right. We kill everything because we need to interact with this box here. So all you gotta do is move it a little bit to the right, and then you can let go of it and move on. And then these spiders, honestly, I think you have to kill them. I forgot. I don't remember if I used to not kill them, but it's so fast to kill them, I just killed them. But I couldn't tell you with 100% certainty if they're necessary to kill. Alright, and so after we press that button, there's another defiler that we're going to run past. I'm going to ignore this guy because I don't want to waste my time shooting him. And he de-aggro's pretty fast. I think like within 4 seconds he'll de-aggro. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's kind of... Honestly, it might be faster to just kill him. I'm just so used to not killing him that it's quick enough for me. Because, yeah, I mean, it's a little kind of a waste of ammo, too. You're not too pressed for ammo, but... yeah. It might be better to kill that guy. I'm not sure. I usually just leave him alive. Then we have one more enemy over here to kill before we do some platforming. I like to just run behind him immediately and shoot the weak point and then kill his body bag. You gotta kill them because otherwise you can't interact with this door. Now that guy is always there to jump scare you. I forget about him sometimes, to be completely honest. And you can, I usually perfect dodge through him. I didn't get it that time, so no big deal. Just mash square. Or if you turned off QTEs, I think you escape immediately. Now here, this, believe it or not, this can be slightly tricky. Eve will do a roll after every single landing here, and so you gotta be careful with that. To be honest, the only thing you really want to make sure is that you don't lose your sprint. Every time you land on a platform, you'll keep your sprint going, so just make sure that you're always sprinting, and you'll be fine. You'll always make the next jump. But that's it for that section. Now here, we're coming up to some enemy waves. We gotta kill a couple more enemies here, but we're coming up to some enemy waves that I like to use the explosive shells on. I'll talk about it more when we get there. More just waiting for the fire to dissipate. You know, this is kind of like Altess. On the way down, we have to jump past an enemy on our left that is there to jump scare you. Okay, but here are the waves of enemies. Now, there are 3 waves. You can see the gate there is locked right now, but we're about to open it. The first wave, I use only slug. Take out everything with just the slug. You want to save your explosive ammo, and you don't really want to waste your shotgun ammo at all here, because we're just going to use the shotgun ammo on Maelstrom. But for this, the way I like to do it is I shoot all the weak points on these guys, and I take out the spiders, and then the body bags last. Okay. And then for here, immediately, I like to run forward to stand around the ammo. And as you can see there, I just picked up an explosive shell because I was near it. But I like to shoot around the middle, and the splash damage will kill... All these barnacles will kind of just kill themselves. It actually works out really nicely. And then I move forward again. I picked up a much more explosive ammo right there. If you're standing all the way in the back, you won't get the free ammo that those enemies you just killed dropped, and so you'll kind of be stuck here. So just move forward early so that it's safer, like, because those enemies could move up. Sometimes the defilers, they like rush forward. So as soon as you knock out the second wave, run forward, grab the ammo, and take out everything else with the explosive ammo, just like I did there. Here, I'm going to show you the fast sequence. This is honestly easier than doing it the casual way. The casual way is kind of like just risky, it feels like. Oh, I messed it up there. That's kind of funny. Usually don't mess that up, but the gist of it is we're going to jump from the first one. We're going to jump down here, and we're going to stick to the bottom. The bottom is safer because we don't got to deal with the lasers. So that jump is straightforward. You just do a double jump, do an air dash. Here, you do a double jump, but don't delay it so much because we want height. And then do an air dash to get over here. And then once you're out there, you're home free. So that's quick lasers. The laser that's moving left and right, not back and forward, pay attention to the one that's moving left and right. That one, as soon as it passes you on the left or right side, you can quickly get up and make it. The one that's coming back from back to front usually isn't so much of a problem. Now here, this platform is critical and he's in a good position, so I'm going to try to rush here. We want to do a delayed double jump from here onto this platform. Again, if you need help with any of the skips specifically, you can DM me on Discord, but I've also talked about them in our Discord server under Speedrun Strats. And I will, you know what, actually I'm going to do a quick video talking about all the skips in depth, because that jump right there is a little bit precise. For the most part, you just want to be jumping, you want to be in a sprint, you want to be sprinting, and then you want to jump left, like diagonally left to reach that platform. It's not as bad as it looks. If you jump from the right spot and if you're in a sprint, you'll make it. And then after that, that's the hardest part. And then you kind of just drop down. So I will have more. I'll do a video. I will do a video after this one where I will talk about the speedrun skips, and I'll also put it in the pinned comment. So look out for that. If it's not in the pinned comment when you're watching this initially, it'll be there soon, I promise. Because I can make that video pretty quickly, and I'll just talk about all the skips in depth. Anyway, there, just like Maelstrom 1, we take out the weak points initially with the slug ammo, and then get really, really close and shoot him 4 times with the shotgun, and it'll take him out. If you have the double-edged gear on, it will take him out. Alright, now you've completed Abyss. Good job. We just have Spire left. And Spire is, in my opinion, like the most fun part of the game. It's the climax of the game. It has my favorite boss fights. It's just a super fun area. There's cool platforming. The whole, like all the vistas, the environment is really fun. There's cool droid enemies. Yeah, so I love Spire. And if you haven't seen my boss tier list video, I rant and rave a little bit about Belial, how much I love Belial in that video. You can check that out if you want to. It's on my channel. It's called All Bosses Ranked. It's just a quick tier list video. I mean, it's not quick. It's like half an hour long, so I do talk a little bit. But yeah. This is another Raven sequence where you cannot skip the dialogue. So You do have to listen to all the dialogue. But this is kind of a short one. Maybe you'd have enough time to run and get a drink or something. Or at the very least, you know, regain your composure. Talk with chat if you're streaming. Have some water. Whatever you gotta do. Or if you're like me, if your hands get sweaty. Sometimes my hands get sweaty. I keep a microfiber towel near me. And I just wipe down my controller. I wipe down my hands. And, you know, stay wiped down so we can keep our controller dry. And pretty much these Raven legacies are talking about... At this stage, Raven is just explaining about the Nativas and the Andro Eidos. And, you know, how she's skeptical about Mother Sphere and all that. And there's a ton of lore in this game that is all hidden away. Like, it's all in flavor text and text documents. And so if you don't care about any of that, it's not really shoved in your face too much. There is some exposition, but as you can see, like, a lot of the dialogue, like, after you play through the game the first time, you can just skip the cutscenes, you can mash through the dialogue. So it's not, like, so in your face where it's like... You're not like... It's not like some games. I think of games like in God of War, or like at the beginning of RE7 is a great example, where you're stuck in a walking simulator for a bit, listening to dialogue. There's really nothing like that in this game, besides the very first time you get to Xion. Besides that, it's a pretty clean, like a pretty just straight shot through the entire game. So I think that's another reason that it makes for a very fun speed game. Because there's only a couple break periods, and the break periods are useful, you know? If there were no breaks, it'd be tough, man. I don't know if I could... I mean, you'd have to, like... Just... If you have to use the bathroom, you just gotta hold it until the end of the run, I guess. That would suck. So here we have more mashable dialogue. And again, your sprint status is maintained during this dialogue cutscene, so you can kind of just... As soon as we get out of it, I'm gonna just turn around, hit the phone, and we're gonna fly away. But not before we get some upgrades. Since we just killed Maelstrom 2, my next upgrades I'm gonna get are... I'm gonna finish Overdrive, and I'm also gonna... I'm not too sure about these, I might change the order up here. But I'm gonna research some parry energy and some dodge energy, so pretty much... The amount of energy that you get per parry, we can increase that. And the amount of burst energy you get per dodge, we can increase that as well. And to be honest, depending on your build or your playstyle, one or the other might be better. Like maybe if you don't really like parrying that much and you prefer dodging, you don't really gotta research the parry energy one. Oh yeah, also use the repair console. As always, anytime you get a chance, talk to Lily, use your weapon cores. And here I will max out chain type extra swing because we're about to start using it. So that will allow us to do more crit damage if we do combos 4 or higher, which we'll do sometimes. So there's our Taki mode unlock. We're not going to use any of those upgrades though. So here we can finish up our overdrive. I'm going to get more beta energy recharge 1 and 2. And then I also get burst energy recharge 1. And then, oh yeah, I actually got my rush chain 1 here. So that's the follow-up to rush. So if you press triangle, if you hold triangle to rush, you can hold down triangle again to do a... Well, you don't have to hold it down, you can just do it. But I always beta chain it. So it's a really nice attack because you can beta chain it to do like... To come into a boss, like just teleport it away and immediately hit them with a stun. I think it's extremely useful, especially for bosses like Demo Crawler, Unidentified Nativa, Raven, and Providence as well. Honestly, all the final bosses. Belial a little bit, because he can get away from you a little bit sometimes. But yeah, all of them are very good. Honestly, and to start off Karakuri, I think I use it as well. Yeah, Rush Chain 1. Great ability. I typically would research it later. Like, normally I would only get it right before Demo Crawler, but I like the way this run turned out. I remember now that I did research it early, and I thought it was good. Okay, so now we are at Spire. Now, Spire is a really cool... Once you're at Spire, like, okay, this is real. Like, we have a real run going here. And the first 2 splits will completely determine what kind of time you get. Because, in my opinion, Belial 1 and 2 are... Really just Belial 2 is like the hardest split in the game, I think. Because there's a bunch of platforming and turrets and stuff. Belial 1, kind of hard because we have a big skip that you could miss here. So I like to call it Taki skip. Someone in chat had mentioned that you can do it. That you can do it without... Taki mode. So it is possible. I just don't know how to do it myself. and it seems really hard. So I like to use Taki mode for this skip in particular. But having learned that we can do it without Taki mode, we can do the first part of the skip without Taki mode. So I'm going to do that to give myself 2 tries pretty much. In previous speedruns, I would only have, you literally can only attempt it once, and then you're out of Taki mode and you can't do it anymore. And I'll show you what I'm talking about once we get there. So here, don't use rush there because you don't want to lock onto that dog or the corpse. And then here, I like to backstab this guy because if you just run past him, he's going to follow you. And then I chain charge into his buddy, take them both out. Now, normally I backstab this guy as well here on the right. I had a couple attempts where like it didn't end up mattering, but I recommend killing him because it can interrupt. And you'll see here, I remember very clearly now, we messed up the skip here because I could have done it better, but also it kind of just didn't work out where like, you'll see what I mean. First, we're going to do a delayed double jump and then late air dash to get up there. And then once I'm on this platform, I activate Taki mode. And since I saved a little bit of Taki mode, I used to go up the slope with Taki mode. Now I have saved myself a tiny bit of Taki mode meter and I can do it twice. So I'm going to get back up and I can do it again. But as you can see, the droid followed us. And so my attacks, I wouldn't have made it anyway, I don't think, but my attacks on the first attempt were hitting the droid. So if you go back and watch the very first attempt, not the second attempt, but the first attempt I did it, I think I might have made it if that droid wasn't there. Because Taki was like, in Taki mode, we were looking down at him. And the aerial attacks were like projectiles, so... Yeah, that one's a little bit tough. That's, in my opinion, the hardest skip in the game. But with some practice, you can get more consistent at it. And it's gotten a lot more consistent when I learned that you could just get up the initial slope without Taki mode, because it gives me 2 tries. And usually if I don't get it on the first one, I'll get it on the second one, because at the very least... And then here I was trying to get up this slope, but I don't know. This slope is harder for some reason. It's not as easy as the one on the left. So we wasted some more time there. I tried it 3 times, damn. Sometimes I even get on, like that doorway there. I've gotten stuck on the top of the doorway, getting up without Taki mode. But anyway, whatever. We just take our time loss and then move on. So we wasted like a good, almost a minute here, something like that. But anyway, here's the second to last code in the game that we enter, the second to last passcode. And then we're going to be dropping down. And we have a fun section coming up with Belial 1 and the Hypertube. The Hypertube has my favorite music in the entire game. It's so good, and Belial's my favorite boss, so this whole area is just happy times. It's really good stuff. I love playing through this game. I've played through it now, like, I've done about 20 speedruns, maybe like 21, 22 speedruns in total. And I've played through the game, you know, besides speedrunning, I've played through it like 3 or 4 times, I think. 4 times, is it? I've played through it a lot of times. We'll just call it 30. We'll round up to 30. And it just doesn't get old. It's so replayable. Combat is so good. I love this game. Now, this is another forced camp. We have to sit at this chair. It's required. Because Lily she has to talk to you. She has to. But then once we do finish talking to her, we can move on and open the door. Hold on, my cat wants out. Give me 1 sec. Okay, anyway. Now for the Hypertube room, there's an order I like to do it in. I learned this from the Chinese runner again that I mentioned at the beginning of the stream. And he did it in this order, and it seems pretty good. I just kept doing it in this order. So I take advantage of Assault and Chain Charge here. If you land around here, you can Chain Charge into the Sentry Gun dude and basically take him out. So it's very strong. Chain Charge is quite good. Otherwise, if you don't have Chain Charge, let's say you didn't route it in. Let's say you don't want to use Chain Charge. You could just shoot him with a shotgun, and it's also very fast. It's not necessary, to be honest. You could do the run without Chain Charge. I just like using it. It helps me in enough situations where I feel like it's good to have. But again, you could come up with your own unique build, your own SP route, you know, how you spend your SP and maneuver the skill tree. Here is another important one. You want to stay closer past the back of the fence, because if you are too far forward, it depends on that droid's positioning too. But depending on the positioning, you may alert another sentry gun guy. Here, luckily, I didn't. But I'll show you them. I'll point it out. There's another sentry gun dude that shoots you, and he could notice you. If he does, I recommend taking him out with explosive ammo. maybe not this one. If that guy notices you, as you can see right there, if he notices you, maybe you could just go run and kill him. If you want to save your explosive ammo, let's say maybe you're low on money, or maybe you don't have any explosive ammo right here because you spent it on whatever, something else. Maybe you spent it on WB pumps. You could just kill that guy. But for this one in particular, if this guy notices you there, that sentry gun, which if you drop off any earlier, he should notice you. I recommend to shoot him with explosive ammo. And the reason is, if you go out to fight him, someone else is going to notice you. And then you're going to be fighting multiple enemies and it just wastes a ton of time. So if the second sentry gun guy there notices you, explosive ammo, take him down. This guy's almost always has his back turned. I have never had a run where that battle droid was actually facing me. So it's pretty safe to just run up, but it's good to be cautious initially and just try to look over and see if he's not facing you. Because you want that stealth kill. That battle droid has a lot of health and you really don't want to be wasting time fighting it. And now we have the wonderful, wonderful hypertube section. I love sword surfing in this game. And typically on my streams, I will always mute here. So I like to mute myself and allow chat to enjoy the music more and stuff. And yeah, it's just a good time. Another thing to note, by the way, you get a bunch of health upgrades here. So, not health upgrades, health pickups. So, don't worry about your health too much. Like, don't waste a tumbler if you're about to go into the sword surfing section, because you can just heal here. Like, there's... all of the green pickups are health pickups, so... But yeah, I spent some time studying this section when I did my OST video. I have an OST video on the Hypertube. It's an extended mix. And I wanted to include gameplay for it because I just feel like it's so pretty to watch. So since I was including the gameplay, you know, I had to do no damage. So I spent a good like 30 minutes or so practicing this area. And you know, now it's pretty consistent. Like once you've learned it, once you've learned the route, like once, it's not so bad to hit it, you know, with good consistency. I would love to do this in a marathon and hit this no damage. I think we do. I'm pretty sure we hit it on this playthrough. I haven't gotten hit yet, so... This is the hardest part right there. Sometimes I overshoot and hit the red section. And then here I like to do a cheeky little double jump. I think it looks cool. But the normal ways you'd go around, you would just keep holding the left analog stick left and then do a whole loop. But I like doing the jump there because I think it looks cool. Anyway, it's always square. You just press square there. And then you're home free. And then we're going to fight Belial 1. Now, Belial 1 is a really, really short boss fight. It is like basically... It's like literally 10 seconds long. If you're just using the shotgun, it's going to last no time at all. So we're going to obliterate Belial here and he's going to leave. And the first time this happened, it was so cool. I remember the very first time I did this during my blind playthrough. I took so much damage during the hypertube and then I walked into Belial with like no health and I was like, damn, I'm screwed. And I was screwed. I died. And it was just a lot of fun. So there's the rush chain that, as you can see, died super fast. So we're at about 2 hours, you know, pretty good pace. But this is, Belial 2, this is, in my opinion, this is the hardest split to get clean because we have conveyor belts and then we have missile turrets. So it's, and then we have kind of like another cheeky jump, which I'll point out. So there's a lot of stuff in this particular split here. Here I like to switch to my slug because we have to shoot a crane here. So you want to have that ready. So as the door is opening, I like to switch to my slug ammo. Anytime something else is happening, if you got to switch your ammo or you got to switch an item, it's a good time to do it, you know? Okay, so it just takes one bullet. And for here, I try not to get too cute with it. I used to do like a rush right here, but I just run normally. And then once you're up onto here, then I like to do a rush once you're on this skinny platform. And then it's going to be circle every time. So now we've got the conveyor belt section. So we're gonna pretend we're like some luggage going through the TSA's conveyor belt system or whatever. And this is the airport section. So there's a lot of time to save here. Compared to casually, we can save a lot of time. The very first thing is you want to make sure that you use your rush to skip this walking bit and get over here to the right. Then, once you're on this ladder, if you're sprinting, you can do a delayed double jump and reach over here, no problem. And then again, there's another diagonal jump. Here, we're going to let go with circle and then jump in the air to reach over here. If this platform isn't in the way, in my opinion, it's a little bit easier. But you can do a double jump. Even if that platform's not there, you can reach over. I'm grabbing the safe, like this is a safety camp. Normally I wouldn't grab the camp, but I'm grabbing it for safety to practice marathon strats. If you're sprinting, the one I just walk past, the 2 lasers, you can get under it. The last set of lasers, you always have to either hope that there's a crate in your way to block for you, or just activate the turrets. Now, if you activate the turrets, it's not so bad. If you're going to activate them, I prefer activating them earlier, so it was kind of weird, the timing here. But this is another good section to practice a bit. Practice it, practice different variations. Typically, I would trigger the turrets on the very first set of lasers that are like that you can't just miss easily. And so that's a good one to practice. Here we have a light skip. Now for the light skip, I always usually approach it in a run. You do a double jump, grab the very corner of this, and then do a double jump to grab here. Grabbing the light is actually not the hard part. The hard part is jumping from the light to the ledge. If you didn't land on it perfectly, and if you don't do your jump also perfectly, you'll just miss the ledge. It's kind of weird. But the thing is, once you've done it like a few times, you kind of just get the feel for it. It's not so bad. What's important is to approach the light the same way each time. Do it in a way that you're comfortable with each time, and then you won't have trouble replicating the jump afterwards. Now for here, I typically jump this way. This area is just a little bit dangerous. You just gotta practice it. I learned that you can run through that van, and that saved me a little bit of time. I practiced this before. Actually, on this stream, we practiced this right before I started doing runs, because I felt like practicing, you know, and it ended up helping because we didn't die here. Typically, I would die here like once. So I had a pretty good Belial split, and then once you're past the tank, you're pretty much home free. The turrets can't really reach you there. But again, that's something I recommend practicing. And then this camp here is very optional. Unless you're like not very well practiced with Belial, I don't think the camp is really not that necessary. You might want to hit it if you're still learning this next room. So this next room, there's a jump we're going to use. First of all, you got to kill this body. This guy, you got to kill him. Because we need the very last passcode in the entire game, which is this one. The Nürburgring one. It says Nürburgring, so it reminds me of the Nürburgring. And then in the room here, there's so many enemies. We don't want to fight any of them. And so I'm going to be doing a cute little jump through the middle, diagonally through the middle of the room. And here's how I set it up. I'm sure there's probably other ways to do this, whatever. Just jump from the front, don't jump from the side because that guy might notice you down there. And then once you're here, make sure you're sprinting and then do a double jump, a delayed double jump, and then do an air dash. Now, I messed it up a little bit there, but I still was fine. The most important thing is to make sure that you do not get hit by any of the tentacles, because if they knock you down onto the floor, they're going to send you towards a guy off to our right that will notice you, and he'll follow you into this room. By the way, the reason I was camping in the corner is because you have to break line of sight with the tentacles in order to get out of combat, because we need to interact with this puzzle here. But yeah, that room, you can waste a lot of time there. So that would be a better reason, in my opinion, to hit the camp just before we enter this area, because, you know, if you're not confident in it, it could be, like, for example, if you mess up that jump, it would be faster to just quickly respawn at the camp and then do it again than fighting the enemies. Here, you got to make sure you jump over those tentacles. And then, again, make sure you jump. Watch out for the dog, because there's a dog on the right. So that's why I'm exiting on the left here. Luckily, the dog did not notice us. If the dog did notice you, you would be forced to kill it, because otherwise it'll chase you all the way to the boss fight. Same thing with this dog. This dog, I'm going to stick to the left here to avoid it. I used to backstab it and then run past, but the backstab was a little bit inconsistent, so I just started running this way instead. Now you can see the holes here. You can see the markings where the tentacles pop up, so just make sure you avoid those. Don't run too far off to the left, because then you'll get hit by the tentacles. But yeah, the dog did not chase us, so we're home free at this point. You have to press the button here so that Lily can hack it, and then she'll open this door. Now we got Belial 2. Now Belial 2, just like Belial 1, pretty much the same thing, except he's got 3 phases now. Belial always starts the same way. I think I start with a rush chain. Yeah, it's a good way to start, because, you know, he'll always do an unblockable. Take advantage of your grenades, do whatever you gotta do. Just make sure that you're always, you know, interrupting him with either your shotgun, your explosive rounds, or a beta chain. But you want to empty your ammo first, because especially, it depends how you're doing. If, let's say that you've died a few times and you bought more WB pumps than you'd like, you might be kind of low on ammo, and then you might have to fight this guy a little bit more normally. But if things are going well, you would have plenty of ammo, and you have enough ammo to stay stocked on ammo for each boss fight. I'm just going to pop the grenade there because I have plenty of grenades. And after I use a grenade, I like to use Onslaught 4. And then otherwise, we're going to be just spamming shotgun, spamming explosive ammo. So interrupt absolutely everything. He doesn't really have any invincible attacks that you're worried about. So this is one of those fights where you can pretty much just be using the shotgun the entire time. So Belial's a nice fight because he doesn't have too much like craziness. Compared to like, you know, Raven or UN, it has a lot of craziness, or Providence. Not too much to worry about. You can kind of just spam fire him into the ground. And that's Belial too. Now, as soon as the boss fight is over, I'm going to run and open the... I'm going to unlock the door or whatever before I grab his ammo. By the way, if you use your rush as soon as the boss fight is over, be mindful because you... Like, once, as Belial is still dying, and like his body is still there, the rush will actually home in on him, so it's like a... It'll lock onto the body, even though Belial is dead. So that's why I didn't use my rush right away there. But that's something that, you know, once it happens to you one time, you're not going to let it happen to you again. By the way, another thing that Belial dropped is he dropped a Shield Destruction Gear 3-star. I'm going to equip that right away. The Shield Destruction Gear 3-star is a nice bump. You know, it's a nice upgrade compared to the 1-star one, so I'm going to put it on the next chance that I get. And then here, once we get to the lift, this is like once we start our ascent, we're going to start going up towards space. I'm going to buy some ammo here. Now, the ammo here is actually very important because we have a lot of hives to deal with coming up. And we really don't want to fight the hives. The hives have a lot of health. They're just kind of dangerous. So, it's good to stock up on ammo here. This is an important one. Make sure you restock here. And then we're doing fine on everything. And that's all we really need. Now, once you move forward a little bit into the room, this will happen. This is like a scripted sequence. There's only one body that you have to grab. And we will be grabbing only that body. Gonna get some water here. Make sure you're staying hydrated. This is a long video. I appreciate it if you've watched this far. Or maybe you're taking breaks. Maybe you watched half of it. You're coming, you know, you're back on day 2. Trying to learn the speedrun. Either way, thank you for watching. Okay, so here all you gotta do is move this one box. We're gonna move it back and to the right. And then we can jump in, grab the body, and this is all we need to progress. Now once you run towards the stairs, it kind of triggers the next sequence and, you know, things will progress. You can also jump up this way. So like, I used to jump up from the other side, but you can just make it this way. It's a little bit faster, I guess. Since we're on this side of the room anyway. But you do have to wait. Oh, here I'm putting on the Shield Destruction Gear 3-star. A little upgrade. I wish I just put it on earlier. Honestly, as soon as you pick it up, just put it on, because otherwise it's kind of easy to forget. So I wish I put it on right as soon as the Belial fight was over. But yeah, as soon as you can control Eve again and she's done walking, you can jump up here, climb up these crates, and I like to save my rush here. You might want to use it here, but there is a tentacle that comes out of the ground here that you can rush past. So I usually save it here. I hit the wall, whatever. Normally you would go up the stairs, but getting past that tentacle is pretty fast. And then here I will just use mostly melee attacks because I'm saving my ammo for the next guy. So there's 3 hives between here and Karakuri. Between the next boss and here, we have to kill 3 of these hives. This is the only one that I'll be killing basically just with melee. Things got a little bit sketchy there. Oh, those are the scary ones. Those red jawbreakers, those things are deadly. I'm totally serious. They are. Look at how much damage that did. If I didn't have my health upgrade, that's a death. I would have had to use a pump right there. So, you know, for Marathon, it's nice to have the 1 health upgrade. But honestly, I just mismanaged that. I should have killed that guy faster. As soon as you get away from him a little bit, once you get away from the hive, he's more likely to do the red orbs that kill you super fast. So here I'm emptying my explosive shells into him and then finishing off with Slug. And as soon as it's dead, progress. Okay, and then we have one more hive, but not for a little bit. So these lumps here, you don't really gotta fight any of these enemies. You can just run past them, ignore everything. And we have one cool little skip coming up, actually. Once we get to like this contamination sector or whatever, press this button, you get a cutscene. You have two cutscenes in a row that you can skip. Okay, this is the maintenance sector. Now we have a little skip here. We're gonna jump. There's a point that I'm staring at. There's like you can see there's like a dark line that divides two. This platform right here. Just jump towards that and do a delayed double jump, and do an air dash. You will make it every time, and then you can save a tiny bit of time instead of doing some platform. Because otherwise you have to do like some wall running. It's very slow. That jump is not so bad. That one, just practice it. You could get it your first try. If you do it, because if you've done some of the other jumps so far, that one's nothing compared to the other ones. Like if you can do the abyss skip, you can do this one. Now here, as soon as you're up, you can just do a running jump and then reach over here. I honestly shouldn't have done that air dash. That was a little bit risky. And then you can drop down, you know, do a second jump in the air and reach over there with an air dash. Saves a tiny bit of time. You don't have to do it though. But it's not so risky because if you do fall, you will just respawn back before the first hovering platform. This guy I'm going to take out with my shotgun, again, because it's just much faster, and that guy will spawn some of Karakuri's spawns, and you know they could get the red orbs in there. It's just very unnecessary danger. Yeah, now we're coming up on Arisa. So Arisa is like an auto-scroller. We kind of just wait around, so it's another tiny break period, but you can't really, you know, drop your controller. So, oh, by the way, you can do a quick jump here. After you come up this, once you go up this last rope, you can just double jump towards the platform, and the cutscene will like suck you in. So that jump is, there is no skill involved. Just do a double jump, a normal one, and you will make it. The area where the cutscene starts is very generous. And we got a few more droids here, but these droids, they're not worried about us. We're not worried about them. So we're gonna run past all of them. Now, Arisa is a section that I wish there was some way to speed it up. I don't know. I was thinking when they added the feature to reload last save, I tested it. I thought that maybe it would work, but like I started Arisa's dialogue and then I reloaded the save, but it doesn't continue. Like you have to restart her dialogue. So I did that and then I had to start from the very beginning of her dialogue. So currently there's no way to speed this up, so it's kind of just like waiting for the dialogue. I love this character, by the way. Eidos has a great character. So I think that for now, can't do anything about it. Maybe at some point someone will find something to speed this up. Maybe there's another different type of save manipulation, something we could do. But it's a good opportunity to just, you know, hit the camp. If you want, you can rest at the camp, because if you sit down, the dialogue will continue even if you're just sitting there. So yeah, this is a good opportunity. I bought some lingering potions just to have some. See, I got plenty of grenades. I got 8 grenades, so we're doing good on everything. I'm even gonna rest, get my tumblers back, you know, get some health, whatever. The only thing you can do, the only thing you could actually mess up here is you could stand in front of Arisa, so you don't want to ever block her path. If you block her path, she will stop, and she'll wait for you to get out of the way. So just make sure you don't stand in front of her and you'll be fine. Besides that, this is a good break period. I mean, you could review your notes. You could think about, you know, your next upgrades, whatever. We don't have any more passcodes to use in the entire game. From here on out, it's basically just bosses. So for the last 5 splits, it's just bosses. I mean, there's a tiny bit of running around, but not really. We have one more enemy mob to face, and then that's actually the last mob. So now we're on level 2. This part, you have nothing to do but wait. You don't even have to talk to her. So, you know, I like to grab the loot for fun. Just to do something. I always grab the chests here. Completely unnecessary. We're done upgrading our exospines. But, I mean, you might not be. Maybe you grabbed a different exospine. You could be doing something else, and maybe you need the materials. So there you go. By the way, that couch looks so comfortable. Like, I could see myself I could sprawl out completely on the couch. I mean, I could lay down and just have so much wiggle room. I could literally stretch out completely. That'd be awesome to take some naps on this. By the way, I don't know what it is. Why are there should be some food here, right? I mean, this is like it's a very high-end passenger lift up to space. Where is the food? Now, compared to Oasis Summer, the summer area in the Oasis, there's some bots there with food, but no food here. What's that about? Not even like a catering area, a buffet table. I feel like that's missing. I would like to see some food there. Anyway, nitpicking. Alright, so the 3rd floor, this is the last floor, and we have to witness Arisa's untimely death here, sadly. But we're gonna get revenge. Now, I like to use sonic grenades. These enemies have 4 and 2 balance respectively. So the weaker guy on the left without the shield, he has 2 balance. So if you use 1 sonic grenade, you can get a free retribution on him. And honestly, it might be better to do like 2 hits and then do the retribution, because that might kill him. And then here, I don't know how I messed this up, but I didn't get the retribution. Typically I would. I'm honestly not sure what I did there. What I did wrong. Could have been a bug, I guess. But yeah, typically we would get a retribution and this guy would be dead already. So we're wasting a tiny bit of time fighting him. So that sucks a little bit, but whatever. And then we can, as soon as you kill both of them, you can head up this rope. And then we gotta kill 1 lump and 2 tentacles and then we're done. We're donezo with regular enemies. The tentacles die to 1 shotgun shell, so we have the money. Like in this particular run, I have plenty of money because I haven't used any WB pumps. So I'm fine just spending the shotgun ammo, but otherwise, let's say maybe you also want to charge some burst. You can take the tentacles out with like square, 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 hold square, and do it that way instead. But if you have the money, shotgun would be the fastest way to kill them. I'll take this opportunity. Another forced camp. We just got all of our health back, got all of our tumblers back. Take this opportunity and use the weapon core upgrade. And then here I'm going to start working on Descending Break. I like Descending Break. It's just like my preference. You could honestly do whatever you want. At this stage, you don't really need any other upgrades. I just like getting Descending Break. I like Descending Break because it's really nice at clearing the Karakuri spawns. And once I finish upgrading it, it's going to deal balance damage. And it's a nice way to down. The thing is, with my playstyle, the way I'm attacking bosses, I end up with extra burst energy. I don't really have any extra beta energy. So that's why I don't get any beta upgrades, you know? Another nice use of Rush Chain there. For this boss, we don't have our gun, of course, so you kind of just gotta rely on regular combos. And so here's a situation where having the chain type exospine is actually very nice. And here's one of the most important bosses, I think, to use the grenades on. So I always want to do a level 2 or higher combo. My favorite combos to use would be square, square, triangle, 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 square, square, triangle, and onslaught 4, which is triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle. As well as sometimes square, 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 triangle, triangle. It just depends on the situation. Those are the main ones that I use. Also, occasionally, I'll use the jumping aerial chain. So I'll do jump in the air, square, 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 hold square. That beta chain is also pretty good. And by the way, the best beta chain attacks to do to heal, to fill up your burst energy would be Onslaught 2, which is triangle, square, square, triangle. Onslaught 1, which is triangle, triangle, triangle. The aerial one, so when you're in the air, square, 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 hold square. My first WB pump usage. Got a little bit careless there, it's alright. As you can see here, I'm going to use Descending Break, take out all the spawns, nice and safe. And then sometimes you just gotta parry. Like you can see here, I didn't have any extra energy to do like another overdrive or whatever, so I just did a parry. But that's Karakuri. It's a pretty straightforward boss, to be honest. Just make sure that you take advantage of your grenades. Really use your grenades, and you want to have some kind of crowd control option. Like maybe you'd want to use the triangle beta skill. If you have a different build, you could use that as well to clear the spawns. And that's Karakuri. So that's the only boss we cannot use our shotgun on. Our gun in general. Besides the early ones before we get the gun, of course. Here, again, I don't really need any of these materials, so all I really care about is getting the damage upgrade there. So we pick up the weapon core. Like, if you're lucky and you pick up the weapon core first, because again, the order that you pick the stuff up in is random. If you get it early, you can just run off. Excuse me, I'm starting to lose my voice a tiny bit. After all, you know, over 2 hours of non-stop commentary will do that to you. Not quite like streaming. When I'm streaming, I'm not necessarily talking this much. But, you know, only gotta do this once. Again, I hope you're enjoying the commentary. Here's another great break period. Here's the Everglow section. I usually mute here as well so the chat can listen to the music. But, yeah, I typically look out, you know, check out the Earth. It's a nice view. So, I like to enjoy the Earth. This might be a good time for donations. I'm thinking already, I would love to play at a GDQ one day. Like, all the practice I've done has been marathon strats. And, with even more practice, I can get an even better, maybe better marathon strats or better time with marathon strats. So, if I could knock out a sub 3 hour run, I think that'd be totally good enough. But anyway, that's a dream for another day. Oh, yeah, I used the... Okay, so here's the thing. If you have a very good Karakuri fight, you can skip resting at the next camp. Now, luckily, I didn't use any tumblers. If you use tumblers, it's okay, don't worry about it. You can just rest at that camp. But the reason you don't ideally want to is because the next camp has forced dialogue. So if you can avoid using health items on Karakuri and try to play it safe, that way you can skip the rest. Because I'm still going to use the camp because I want to buy ammo. Oh wait, I don't have to buy ammo. Never mind. We already have ammo because we didn't use any of the previous fight. So yeah, actually, I don't really need this camp. I think I still stop at it anyway just to get more... I might use my weapon core, I think. Can't remember. Maybe I don't stop at it. I don't know. But the point is, if you have a great Karakuri fight, if you don't waste much health items, obviously you didn't use your gun, so you're still stocked up on ammo, you can just run straight into the demo crawler fight, which saves a tiny bit of time. Now for these platforms, there's a tiny bit of randomness that I don't know what it is, but there's a tiny bit of randomness where you could miss the first cycle if you're not like blistering fast. I almost missed it here. I remember catching it just barely. But sometimes I would also, you know, I would go like at a normal pace. I'd get on there pretty fast because as you can see, they don't start moving until you press the button. But that one seems to start at like a weird spot. Like it was at a very weird spot. That was a very close jump. It's not always that close. So if you get a tiny bit unlucky here, don't stress it too much because it is a tiny bit of randomness. And honestly, this is a section I should probably study a little bit more and figure out why are there different variations, because I don't know what it is. Does it depend on when you press the button? I don't think so, because I typically press it right away. Does it depend on something else? Not sure. But yeah, if you miss the first cycle, try not to stress about it too much. Just consider extra break period and, you know, think about the next boss fight coming up. Another thing with speedrunning, this is a good thing. I should have mentioned this earlier, but when you're speedrunning, you know, the main... Why do we speedrun? It's fun because it's fun to see your progression, right? It's just fun to get better times and, like, improve your PB. That progression element is fun, or maybe you really like the competition aspect of it. For me, I like seeing my time improve, and I also like learning more about the game, and I also enjoy being able to fully experience a game whenever I want really fast. Like, since I love this game, it's just cool that I could play through it whenever I want to, like, you know, quickly in one sitting, you know? So if you really love a game, I think you may as well speedrun that game, because you get to learn more about it as well. I mean, we really intimately learn the locations of everything, as well as, like, you know, our routes and all that stuff, and it's just a fun time. Here I'm going to keep upgrading my descending break to now down, so I'll deal 2 balance damage now, as well as down the enemy. Oh yeah, I wanted shock grenades, I remember now. I did not want to sit at the chair to rest at the camp and restock, because you don't get your items from storage unless you sit at the chair. So it was much faster to just buy 2 grenades, and I wanted 2 grenades for this fight. Anyway, this demo crawler fight, most of demo crawler's attacks sweep low. If you wanted to, you could just do jump attacks. Like literally, I could jump at this guy right now and do the aerial beta chain, do square, 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 hold square, and I would basically avoid almost everything he does. Most of his attacks, not all of them, but most of them, you're safe if you're in the air. But again, we're going to be spamming our gun here, so... this is another 3-phase boss. So here he pulls out his sword. During these transitions, again, you can't take damage. It's a good opportunity, in this case, to continue attacking, just gain some burst energy, gain some beta energy. Not every boss gives you the opportunity, because sometimes some boss transitions are not really like... Stalker, for example. With Stalker, he does that like shockwave attack, and so if you're close to him, you might be able to charge a tiny bit, but his transition pushes you away, so that one doesn't really work. For Demo Crawler, it's great, because he's just pulling out his sword, you can keep attacking him. Otherwise, it's the usual. We're going to keep looping Overdrive, keep using our shotgun, and get him to phase 3 here. Once he's at phase 3, he's going to run away, and that gives us a good opportunity to, you know, come into him. I'm just going to keep attacking. We're just literally going to go in during the whole transition, and I've filled my beta energy there. And it's just a great opportunity to, you know, max out your energy, so... Here's why I really love having rush chain, so I can approach, go straight into a beta chain, and it interrupts the attack, because it's, you know, it's safer. It's safer than doing a rush, getting in there and then shooting him. That's a tiny bit slower than just doing the rush chain, beta chain. That was a nice jump. So I did incursion 4 there. Like I was mentioning earlier, most of his attacks sweep low, so incursion 4 is actually a great one to do. The reason I typically stick to Onslaught 2, because it is just really, it charges more burst energy. So if I'm really low on burst, I try to lean towards that one. But my most common combos are going to be square, square, triangle, triangle, and then triangle, square, square, triangle. Those are like my go-tos. As well as the incursion N. So the incursion neutral one, which is a square, square, square. That's another good one because it's part of, like, it's just so natural. Like, if you just ran out of ammo, you can just go straight into another beta chain and just keep it going that way. But anyway, that's Spire. So we have a little kind of like cutscene boss here. It's a cinematic boss. No real danger here. Technically, the fight here against Demo Gorgon, you can technically fail it. If you are too slow, which in a speedrun you're not going slow, so don't worry about it. But like casually, if you wanted to just see what happens, you can just sit around here, let the timer run out, because there's like an internal timer going on somewhere. You'll just die. So yeah, you do have, you're technically timed. But we just shoot a few eyes. It's very epic. This is a really memorable scene. The first time I played this game, this part really stood out. It was such a cool way to finish off the climax, but the whole descending part, like, Spire's the climax, but now we've got a bunch of cool boss fights to kind of just, you know, tailor off. And it's just a great final. The Spire is really so good because the Spire is completely linear. Like, you've got 807, right? 807 is linear, but like, there's some branching paths, kind of. It encourages you to explore. There's like the flooded sector where you go back and you explore, blah, blah, blah. Matrix is a little bit more linear than Eidos, but then like, you get to Spire and it's like very linear, and so the experience that you have in Spire is so curated and so wonderful. Like, pretty much everyone's Spire should feel about the same. And so the pacing is great. So it's awesome because like, you just maybe you just finish your side questing. You can technically side quest after, once you get back to Xion, but since the game warns you, it's like, this is the point of no return, you probably are done side questing, you're just, you know, gonna finish up the game. So you go through Spire, you got these awesome boss fights, you get the whole sword surfing sequence, and then it throws you right into the last 3 bosses of the game. It's such a good time. Yeah, I love this game. I'm very high on this game. Stay tuned, by the way, if you care about reviews and you wanted to hear my review video. I'm planning to do quite a big review video. The thing is that right now we're playing through on stream, between playing Stellar Blade, I'm playing through all the games that inspired Kimi Hyung-tae, the director. And so we've already done Sekiro. I did a blind playthrough of Sekiro, that was fun. Right now I'm working on Nier Automata. Next I want to work on Bayonetta, and then I think we'll also do God of War Ragnarok, because I haven't played that game either. I have played Bayonetta, so that'll be a replay, but that's a short one. We'll probably do that in like 1 or 2 streams. And once I'm done playing all the inspiration games, then I feel like I can talk about this game responsibly and put out like an opinion. Because I just hate the idea of rushing a review video on a game that I really, you know, care about and I'm very passionate about. So I want to do this game justice and give it a nice review video, but it's going to be a while. But if you wanted to hear it, stay tuned to the channel. You know, I'll get there eventually, I promise. I will do a review video eventually once we play through all the inspiration games. Anyway, Xion's on fire. I remember during my my blind playthrough of this game, someone in chat had said, like, what happened? Did the Fire Nation attack? I thought that was funny, you know, reference to Avatar The Last Airbender, which I didn't really watch much as a kid, but I got the reference. I knew enough to get the reference. I thought it was funny. So yeah, the Fire Nation attacked. Xion's under fire. It's getting pretty messed up, but we're gonna go beat up unidentified Natiba. You know, I thought this could be a cool section to kill like a few Natiba as you run to the presence chamber, but we didn't get anything like that. Which is alright. That might have slowed down the pacing. Because UN is just such a great boss, and it's one of the most epic, it has like the most epic build-up, in my opinion, for as far as bosses go. This boss has the most build-up, because, you know, you're looking forward to this boss since the demo, and now you can finally get revenge, you know, for Taki, so it's great. I'm just going to fill up on ammo here, and then I'm going to finish upgrading my descending break, just the damage, and that's it. I don't think I get anything else, do I? Oh, I guess I got burst energy recharge too, because we didn't get it earlier, okay. And I'm going to start with the shotgun, of course. And that's it. We're good to go. Now, this boss is kind of tricky. She usually gets away twice and then gives you a chance to attack. So there, she already did 2 getaways. So I know that I'm safe to attack. She has some invincible moves. But that was a very fast phase 1. You can dodge this, by the way. That like shockwave that she does, you can dodge that if you really want to get some burst energy. Anytime you get a blink, like that blink is invincible, just do the blink. It's a nice chance to charge your burst. And here again, she gets away usually twice. This time she only got away once. The clouds are scary. I got scared there. I went into Taki mode because I didn't want to die. Sometimes the clouds can stunlock you. I should have exited Taki mode right away, but I guess I was thinking, let me just finish off her shield, and then I kind of just... I kept it going because... Okay, then this started happening. By the way, these projectiles here, you can parry them. So, you know, you can parry that if you want. But anyway, took advantage of Taki mode a little bit. I made a mistake there. I actually used 2 grenades. I normally never use grenades on here, so I wasn't sure what the animation looked like. Grenades were a recent development that I just started using on my speedruns, and I didn't recognize that UN actually got downed there. So I wasted 2 grenades when she was already down. But for the most part, we just stick to using the shotgun. Here's her insta-kill, so we gotta switch to slug. If you're very fast, you can actually shoot all of the targets before her first set of projectiles goes off. But when she does go down, it's a good opportunity to, you know, charge some burst if you want, or just go ahead and keep shooting her. But this will pretty much take her to phase 3. So I'm going to finish off with the Retribution, get her to phase 3, and then... Yeah, so now here's phase 3. Looks super cool. She grows 2 more wings. I mean, that looks awesome. I love the boss design on here. By the way, fun fact, if you weren't following this game up to release, there were some articles on the PlayStation blog leading up to release, and there was one about the clay sculptures that they use. So every single boss in this game got clay sculptures that they then 3D scanned into the game, and that's how they made the models for the bosses. And one of the clay sculptures that they showed off, one was Gigas, I think the other one, yeah, it was Gigas, Stalker, and then for this one, they had the Raven one, but they had the clay sculpture for Unidentified Natiba, but they titled it Raven. And so it was kind of a huge spoiler that this is actually Raven, and so that article did go down, but I have it linked still if you wanted to see it. It's in my, it's on the Discord using like the internet storage, it's like the Wayback Machine. You can still see that article with the images. And yeah, it's just crazy that they accidentally spoil something, but the thing is, if you haven't played the game, you wouldn't even realize it's a spoiler. So for me, it didn't click in my head. I didn't realize, oh, Raven. I didn't realize that, so yeah. Luckily, I didn't have it spoiled for me, but might have spoiled someone. Anyway, so that's Unidentified Natiba. For the most part, just avoid the clouds. The clouds are the scariest thing. She can do tar pits as well, but if you're always in her face, she'll pretty much never do that. Very rare, but the clouds can happen, and the clouds are dangerous because you get stun locked in them. So be careful with the clouds. Remember that she usually gets away twice, and then the third time she won't get away. Like when the fight started there, if you want to watch the beginning of the fight again, at the beginning of the fight, she kind of like flies away 2 times, and then you're safe to go in and start attacking with the shotgun. So try not to waste your resources early. It was a pretty good fight, and now we just got 2 bosses left, so UN drops some nice stuff. For me personally, I really like facing Raven with the 15% speed increase gear, so I will be equipping that right away. I'm going to take off the double-edged gear also for some kind of safety. Raven, by the way, for Raven, I have done a complete boss guide on. It's called Learn to Master Any Boss, No Damage Tutorial. And in this guide, I talk for 30 minutes. I made like a PowerPoint and presentation. I talk about boss fights in this game, and I use Raven as my example boss. But pretty much I just talk about my methodology in studying bosses, and I use Raven as an example, and you know, talk about everything about her. And if you've ever struggled with Raven, you might learn something from that video. And if you wanted to get like really serious, you could do that study methodology for every single boss. And I have to an extent, but not really. I haven't studied all the bosses that in depth. The only bosses that I've spent a lot of time studying are like Taki, Belial, Raven, Providence for a long time. And that's pretty much it, just those guys. Oh, and Gigas. But if you just wanted to jump into runs, just study the bosses a bit, the ones that you struggle with the most. Starting out for me, it was Democrawler and the final boss, which was Elder. But I've moved on. I don't fight Elder anymore because Elder is just like... Elder is way harder, man. And Elder can teleport away from you in ways that Providence does not. So it's just like such a sketchy boss fight. I do not like facing him for the speedrun. Providence is just really nice. And he has a smaller health bar. You only got to get him down to 25% and then the fight's done. And so... yeah, and it kind of works out to about the same. So the thing is, with Providence, you have to go through the credits sequence, like at the end of the game, where you're just killing angels. versus with because in this game, according to speedrun.com, time does not end until the first credit pops up, like Kim Hyung-tae's name. It says director Kim Hyung-tae, and as soon as that pops up, that's when time ends. So if you fight Elder, it's a tiny bit faster in that sense because like you just finish the boss and then you press circle to skip some cutscenes and then you're done. But you have that outro sequence with Providence. However, it kind of counteracts the Adam fights because right before Elder you have to fight Adam a little bit. Granted, it's faster, but it still wastes some time. So it ends up kind of being about the same. I really prefer fighting Providence because it's just such a nicer, simpler boss fight and less craziness. I've also spent much more time fighting him, so I'm more familiar with it. You know, obviously the hardest boss is always going to be the boss that you're least familiar with. And so that's something that you can do, like you can improve on. And personally, I didn't want to practice Elder anymore, so I moved on to Providence, and I'm happy facing Providence. If it turns out that Elder's that much faster, and if I ever became like really crazy about like chasing world records or whatever, which I don't see myself doing, but I mean it could happen, and I don't know. I don't know what I'll be doing in the future. Maybe I'll find that Elder's a tiny bit faster, but I think Providence is it's a nice speed. It's a good boss fight. Because Elder also has kind of a slow transition. Like when he gets to phase 2, it's kind of slow, man. Like he's really dramatic, you know. Elder, by the way, I feel like is the more proper final boss. But for speedrunning, we do Providence. I like to do Providence anyway. But if you feel the other way, if you're more comfortable with Elder, you know, do that instead. Here I'm gonna get my last weapon core. We'll get one more weapon core from Raven, but I'm gonna use the weapon core here because there's no repair console before Raven. That was a mistake. I just accidentally pressed the wrong dialogue. So that cost me like 10 seconds or whatever, no big deal. My goal here was just to get sub 3 hours again, just practicing marathon strats. I just wanted a pretty clean run where I don't die too much or make any huge mistakes. The only big mistake that we made is that I missed the Taki skip, aka the Spire dam skip. So if I hit that, man, this would have been a great run, but I think it still was a great run. I'm very happy with it. And moving forward, I'll be doing New Game Hard speedruns. My next goal for this game is I want to do a Masochist run. I'm going to do New Game Hard with stipulations. I want to do that challenge run, and then afterwards I want to get into speedrunning New Game Hard. Any percent glitchless, because yeah, it's a very fun speedrun, and my goal, of course, my goal from the beginning was to speedrun New Game Hard, but you can't just jump into it. I practiced here first. I feel like I know the route now. You know, I feel practiced enough that I can kind of move on from this, and yeah, I think New Game Hard should be a lot of fun. So anyway, as soon as the camera changes to slowly there, you can hold down circle again, skip cutscene. And then you want to use your rush right away here because once you're closer to Adam's bike, you're going to be locked out of using your rush. So use it right away because once you get to about here, you can't use rush anymore. It just won't let you. And here we have the penultimate camp. This is the second to last camp in the game. I'm just going to buy ammo here and that's it. We don't need any more upgrades. At least for my build, I'm not getting many more upgrades. Maybe you would want some other upgrade here that you're just missing for Raven. But yeah, remember that I did switch my gears. So I took off the double edge gear and I put the 15% speed increase gear. That's just how I'm comfortable facing this boss. It's how I've spent most of my time practicing against her, so for consistency, I take it off. It's a little bit slower, but it makes me happy. We are gonna, again, kill her in the same way that we kill pretty much all the other bosses since we get the gun. We're just gonna spam with the shotgun and obliterate her. Now, sometimes Raven, she has one big invincible attack that you have to worry about, but it's only in phase 2. So for phase 1, you can kind of just go crazy and shoot her with the gun, and it'll interrupt everything. I was trying to jump there. Usually her unblockables you can jump over. For there, honestly, you probably could get over it if you double jump. I just didn't get over it there. Anyway, I'm pretty nervous here because I've already lost at least, I think I've lost maybe 2 speedruns that were sub 3 pace to Raven from just choking. And the previous day, because we got this on a Friday, the previous day on Thursday, I messed up a speedrun. I lost it here to Raven, and I just forgot to change my gears, and so I was playing with a slower speed, and it kind of just really messed me up. Now, when she goes into Tempest, make sure you stop attacking her, because if you speed up if you attack her, it'll speed up the Tempest timing, and it just messes it up. I'm only really comfortable with the timing when you aren't attacking her. So as soon as you see it happening, once you see her crouching and she makes the sound, just stop attacking her, and you can, or if you don't want to dodge it, you can also just run away from it. You have just enough time to run away from the Tempest, but I typically dodge it. Because once you learn timing, it's pretty, you know, it's pretty, you can see, like, it's right before the screen starts cracking, you just press dodge, and then the follow-up is always the same. She kind of just teleports and jumps at you. Again, another QTE here. You can turn them off in accessibility if you like. Again, I'm not like crazy about like getting best time possible. I just wanted a run that looks good to watch, and this is what I came up with. So I love QTEs too, so it's part of the fun for me as well. I just like the QTEs, so I leave them on personally. And that's basically the fight. I think I might finish this off with like, yeah, like one more beta chain, and that's it. And that's Raven. So, I was really definitely nervous there because I was only doing the square beta chain. I was just doing square, 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 square. Here's another unskippable cutscene. We've done a lot of speedruns on the channel during my streams, and so like we've heard this particular cutscene in like every language. I think I've done a playthrough of every language except for, I was missing one. I was missing Portuguese. I haven't done Portuguese yet. I gotta do that one. And also English. I've never done English, but to be fair, no one's ever requested English. So we've done speedruns on basically every single language. But now I just stick to my default. I stick to Korean, the default one. For me, I just like listening to it. And even if you haven't ever studied any Korean, like I like listening to the Korean because, you know, I study Korean, and so like it's just nice to hear it. And also, I just think the delivery is really good on a lot of the lines. Like, I really enjoy E's battle cries in Korean. I think they're cool. And I love Korean Lily. The voice actors, because I played it in Japanese too. I think the voice acting in Japanese is excellent. But I really prefer the Korean Lily. I think it suits her character a lot more. And she has so many funny lines. Like, when she first meets Man, that line is hilarious. Evolution, that line is hilarious. It's just really good stuff. Anytime she's bantering with Adam, all the dialogue that Lily does is great. So... But, you know, that's just preference. You can play whatever language you want. There's no language that's faster than any other. It's doesn't make a difference. At least as far as I know. Maybe it does make a difference, but I don't think so. I think that the cutscenes are all the same, regardless of language. Because that would be really weird. Maybe some of the dialogue, that you mash X through, it's possible that some of it is faster in other languages, but I don't think so. Could be wrong on that, though. Never studied it myself. So, can't give a definitive answer. Anyway, here we have plenty of time. I know I'm gonna get sub 3. I even have room to die to Providence like once here. But we did not die though, so it was a pretty clean run overall. My only death was to I didn't have any deaths. I used a couple pumps, but I never died. Besides our planned one back in the construction zone. Anyway, I love the delivery on those lines there. Now we are inside the nest, so we've made it. You're here at the end of the game. Honestly, if you wanted to like rewatch this video to learn the speedrun route more, all you really gotta watch is starting from Eidos 7 to the end of Spire. No, not even the end of Spire, just until the end of, once you get to Karakuri, because then everything else between that is just boss fights. You don't really gotta worry about anything else. I mentioned it earlier too, but again, you could speedrun this in parts if you want. If it's too long, you know, try out just speedrunning up until the end of Matrix. And, you know, work on that time, and then you could add Spire in later. However you can, whatever is most fun for you. Again, you know, you want to have as much fun. Speedrunning is, ultimately, it's a hobby, it's a game of just failures. You're always going to be behind your sum of best in general. And so that sum of best segments is something that, it's just a tool there to help you improve, but you don't want to worry about your time so much that it doesn't become fun. I recommend just try to be, sometimes I'm too hard on myself, so, you know, I get it, but like, if you are too hard on yourself, you're going to feel suffocated. Trust me, it's never that serious. We're just playing video games here. So just be hard on yourself enough where like you're motivated to improve. But if you're so like worried about your time and you're restarting a lot, you know, maybe consider taking a break a little bit, because it becomes less fun when you're doing that, you know what I mean? Because it's such a long run. If you miss like 10 seconds here or there, the run is long enough where you have time to make it up. I promise you. You can have a better boss fight. You can have better platforming. Like in the Belial 2 section, there's always room to improve there. So, you know, just have fun with it as much as you can while you're learning. In the early stages, it's super fun. Like just improving your time, it's so much fun, dude. And if you like the planning aspect of it, like I like the playing part. I think about it sometimes too. Like I've been thinking about my skill tree. Watching this, I've already thought about things that I would like to change with my SP usage. And I could definitely see doing different routes, but like I think that if you like planning too, that could be its own hobby. Just thinking about like, how could I improve this? You don't even have to really play the game yourself. You could just watch other speedrunners and think, I think we could do that better, you know? Because there's a lot of value in the planning, the routing, you know, the skill tree route that we go. But yeah, this is what I did. This is what I came up with. And I'm happy to have improved from the original speedrun that I watched from the Chinese runner E1U Mei. This guy, his time was like 3 hours and 2 minutes and change. And we've improved it by about 7 minutes, you know, I'm pretty happy with that. And again, my goal was just sub 3 hours. I think that sub 3 hours is good enough to present at a marathon, personally. When I go back to watch like my favorite speedruns, honestly, it's never like world record times. It's always like these old GDQ runs that had just really fun commentary. Like the couch is really good, and I would love to have maybe some members from our community in the Discord. I don't know if they could meet me at a GDQ. That'd be super crazy. That sounds like a dream come true. And then have them on my couch commentating, or just like other Stellar Blade runners. The community is tiny. I mean, there's literally like no one speedrunning this game. And so my goal here with this speedrun tutorial is to really get more people into speedrunning the game. I would love to see dozens of people submitting runs and playing the game and streaming it and, you know, enjoying this awesome game. It's super fun. Some of my favorite combat ever. One of the most replayable things that I've seen come out. And it really reminds me of PS2 era. I was born in 1994. My favorite generation is PS2. So, like, seeing a game come out like this, it's crazy. It feels like it's from a different time. A complete game gives you so much to offer. The updates that they've done so far, the shift up updates, have all been free. It's like so cool, and so I really want to support, you know, this developer. But for Providence here, for the most part, just stay really close to him. If you get far from him, like at mid-range, he starts to bust out these crazy projectiles you don't want to deal with. I was unfortunate. I wasted a grenade there, but he was going into his insta-kill, and yeah, anytime he does those two lasers, the parallel lasers, make sure you always let them kind of spawn in first. You can react to them, I promise you. So wait for them to show up first. If you try to anticipate them, you're gonna dodge too early. And Providence is a very long, groggy state. So after this insta-kill, you have a lot of time. I could have done more there, but I decided to just go for the retribution because I can tell the fight's over. Like I'm gonna do one more. I have so much burst energy. I'm gonna do like 1 or 2 more descending breaks, and that's gonna be the fight. Put him down. Got an onslaught in. Maybe use my grenade. I have 1 grenade left, so it'd be a good time to use it. Yeah, there you go. And at 25% health left, that's Providence. This last part, you cannot die here. It's on a timer, but you have like 2 minutes, so you really can't mess it up here. I like to use the triangle ability. It's the fastest one, and it guarantees that he's going to stay stun locked. So I just mash L1 triangle, and that's it. The last thing we got to do is just get through the credits. But if you didn't want to, like if you're dying to use the bathroom, I guess maybe it's not the best idea. I was gonna say, during the like outro sequence where you're just fighting angels, for that bit, you could just go AFK if you wanted to. I like to just, you know, I like to kill the angels because it looks cool. But it doesn't affect anything. Whether you kill them or not, it's still gonna be the same amount of time. It's always like a set. I think it's like it takes like 50 seconds or something. Hell, we'll time it here. So the break might not be long enough to run and use the bathroom, but yeah. Once you're here, your time is locked in. You just gotta skip the cutscenes, and that's it. So yeah, I always like to use all of the cool abilities because they just look awesome in this angel form. But that's the speedrun. Again, Check out the Discord if you'd like. The Discord link for the Safe for Work Discord is in the description, and you can always ask questions about the speedrun in there. Under Speedrun Strats, the text channel, you can DM me directly. I try to answer, everyone's questions, be as helpful as possible. If you see me live, if you see me streaming, just pop in and ask me a question. If you're asking me a question about the speedrun, I will always help you, I promise. And if I'm playing Stellar Blade on during that particular stream, and if I'm not doing anything important, I'll try to stop what I'm doing and go show you, whatever you need help with, because I would love to get more people into this game and get more people speedrunning. So yeah, all these things look super cool. Like that dodge looks so sick. I wish it would be super cool if they made this an outfit, like that you could just equip and just use Angel Eve throughout the game, or at least like how in Spider-Man 2 you can change the color of your tendrils. It'd be cool if you could change your talking mode, like when you go into talking mode, go into this form instead. That'd be pretty hype. And it probably wouldn't be that hard for them to add, but hell, maybe it's nice that they don't have that, because it makes it more special when you finally get to Angel form. Again, as soon as the time pops up, his director Hyungtae Kim, they put it backwards there, whatever. That's time. So as soon as you see that pop up, the first credit, you can press time, and you're done. So we got a 2:55:42 here. Pretty good. Sub 3 hours. My goal was just sub 3 hours. So I would have been thrilled about 2:59, but we got a nice, almost, a little bit over 4 minutes there. Beat my goal by a bit. And that's it. Actually, during the live sequence, like when we were doing the speedrun live, I let the entire credits rock, and these credits were long. They were like over 10 minutes long. So lots of people worked on this game. Shout out to everyone that worked on this game. I love this game. Thank you, Shift Up. Thank you Sony for sponsoring them so that they had more money to make a better game. And thank you guys for watching. So that's it. We're done here. Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more Stellar Blade content. Peace.